So a poll question. By the way, Martin.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. Yes, you're right, Martin. And just because the Dolphins play Thursday, they are the leader in the clubhouse. No, Ryan, but you know what you have that no one else does? A backup quarterback.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. You did if you like football. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. You thought this would be a sneaky good Saturday. Huh. It went right past sneaky.
It blew past sneaky into, I don't want to go epic because that's a little too much, but amazing, fantastic, delivered, and then some. What a Saturday. Holy cow. And, Sunday wasn't half bad either, David. But, Sunday seems to always deliver now, doesn't it?
We had points scored this Sunday where we didn't necessarily have them last Sunday. And also a ton of one-score games. Maybe not Sunday Night Football, but do some quick math here. All right, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the games yesterday were one-score games. Very entertaining Sunday after a very entertaining Saturday. There's 2 weeks left in the baseball season. A Ryder Cup in about a week and a half. I don't know. Seems like a pretty good time of the year.
Absolutely. It is. It was. What a great Saturday right from the get-go.
Oh, hold on, Mark. I'm sorry. This just in. DJ Lagway has thrown another interception.
He has. And you know what's interesting about the 5 picks that DJ threw is that they were all his fault. But at the same time, when I was reading some of the post-game stuff, the LSU safety basically said they knew what they were doing. Watched film, was setting him up. And if that's the case, is the head coach's play calls, is he calling a good game if the LSU defense has a damn good idea of what's going on?
You mean if they're predictable?
Yes.
No. Mm-mm.
That would be that would be as concerning to me if I'm a Gator fan than the 5 interceptions. That LSU talked about it after the game, that they knew what was coming. Now, Brian Kelly didn't talk about it off the hop because, well, Brian Kelly wanted to let everybody know that he won. And had every right to, in my opinion, but we'll get to that in a minute. But oofda for the Gators. And yet,
yes.
I texted you yesterday, David, and I was sincere when I asked him, like, who right now is the best team in the SEC? I don't know. And I don't know if there's a great team in the SEC because LSU had a nice win. But when you get 5 interceptions and are still not pulling away from your opponent, I don't know. I really don't know right now. This is why for years now, David and I have complained, and we understand why, and we understand that they're not going away. But rankings mean squadoosh right now. They really do. But yet they do have a influence on how the committee thinks. And that's always been David and I's bone of contention with the rankings, because I don't know. Do you?
Well, Josh Pate of 24/7 last night posted a video in which he said this is the big problem with the polls, that people have preconceived notions, and until they are proven wrong, they're not willing to look at what is in front of them, what has been the reality so far. For most teams in the country, they played 3 games. For Iowa State and a couple of others, they played 4. But he said, like, look, for example, Illinois is 9th. Illinois' best win is Duke on the road. What has Illinois done to deserve to be ranked that high, except that they were everybody's darling coming into the season? They are actually on the cover of some preseason magazines, blah, 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 preseason top 10 or 12 in most people's polling. Therefore, they must stay 9th. Meanwhile, look at Georgia Tech and Vandy. All right, look at what they've done so far this year. Vandy's 12th. He said, now they've gone on the road and whacked 2 teams. Virginia Tech. Okay.
Well, I mean,
fine.
So did Old Dominion, but that's another story.
Right. Okay. Of course, they did it after Vandy did. And secondly, South Carolina.
Now
in
that
everybody's preseason top 15. Okay. And then look at Georgia Tech and what they've done. And they just beat Clemson, who was in everybody's top preseason top 6. I mean,
so you are right.
by the way,
he is right in that regard. It's not close.
You know that AP stat that we use before the start of every college football season? Find the preseason top 10 team that's going to end up unranked. Well, how about Clemson and Notre Dame right now? Which one of those 2 do you think at the end of the year is going to end up unranked? Or do you think that they, run one off here? Have they lost their last game? I mean, I think a poll question, you want to nominate a poll question for today? Is Notre Dame out of the playoffs?
It's a huge question. And if you look at their remaining schedule, they can run the table, but they're not going to beat anybody of substance unless USC and NC State continue to win in the way that they are. And NC State's not a good football team. That's a fact. I mean, they were trailing to Wake Forest. They struggled with Virginia and probably should have lost. And East Carolina had a shot late in the game to come back and beat NC State. I give NC State credit. They've won all the games. But when you look at them and you look at their resume, it by no means screams 10 wins. And that may be what Notre Dame will need out of a USC or an NC State to justify getting them into the playoff. Yet there's so much chaos. And as I pointed out, who's the best team in the SEC? Hell, I don't know. The SEC could beat itself up in a way that Notre Dame's 10-2 at the end of the day could be enough. But I love the poll question.
Meanwhile, also, Notre Dame has lost to teams that right now are ranked 4th and 10th by a total of 4 points. And yet, many of us are throwing them on the trash heap already of the college football season, which one can argue. Now, is this because they're not in a conference and they've done this to themselves? But I would argue, why are you scheduling like this early?
Yeah, look at the recipe. David, you've pointed it out at least a dozen times in this early season. What was Michigan's preseason schedule when they won the Natty? What were the Buckeyes doing the year that they won the Natty? And what the team who's picked by a lot of people, Penn State, what have they been doing in the preseason? The regular season.
By the way, if you're a Gator fan, can you hang on to this? Your defense the last 2 weeks has given up 38 points. In modern football, 18 and 20,
With
those
5
are winning.
turnovers from your offense, and you gave up 20.
Right. On the road in a tough place to play. I mean, defensively, you got to think we're there. We're there defensively. We've given up 18 and 20. But offensively, and once again, who's in charge of the offense? I mean, for those that want to keep making the case to keep Napier, it is getting so hard. I mean, it's not like the defense is what comes under his thumb. It's the offense. He's calling the plays. What is letting the team down right now in a big way? They've scored 26 points the last 2 weeks. Hell, they should be scoring a minimum of 26 every week.
So, David, I have a new email pen pal, and it's really more of a one-way because I read his emails and then generally comment on them on the air. But he vents to me, and I thank you. I read them, and I got to tell you, you made me laugh Sunday morning because when I got the email, the title was Gators Lose Again. Mark, my wife asked me how I was doing Sunday morning. Fine. Thanks for asking, as I tried to spread vodka on my toast. At this point, I'm just waiting for the Chicago Bears to draft DJ Lagway first chance they get. And he goes on to make some great points, and he does say, in a vacuum, no context, on paper, it was not a horrific loss. If you said
Right.
with Florida's start was they go to Death Valley, lose by 10 with DJ having an awful game, and they're 2-1 right now, I don't think Gator fans in full panic mode.
Not at all. In fact, I think Gator fan would be like, wow, we're this close to being really good. Uh-huh.
But now they're 1-2 heading
Correct.
to Miami, where the transfer quarterback that was mocked all season long for his old teammates' disgust of him, the way he broke up with one of the Cavender twins, and he just wasn't a good guy. That could all be true. But he's dealing. He's dealing, kids.
Because right now, that guy is going to New York for the Heisman ceremony. Don't know if he's going to win it, but he's at least going.
At this point in time, you're damn right he is. So I get it, Gator fan. I was texting with one all night Saturday. And even, he and I were saying, as badly as Florida was playing on offense, LSU let them hang around because the Gators' D was good.
Yep. Outside that last long run, I mean, they held them to like 50 yards rushing until the final rush of the game for LSU. Still, I don't think LSU rushed for 100 yards in the game. Yeah, defensively, they're good enough. You know who's in charge of the offense? The head coach.
That is correct.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And that hasn't even got us to some of the other head coaches and what happened yesterday.
Hell, 2 college Power 4 coaches have already been fired. They didn't even make it to mid-September.
Good call by you when I texted you Saturday that Old Dominion was up 28 spit at the half. And you said, does he survive the day? He survived the day, but not the weekend. Miller and Moulton. I don't even know if you can call it an overreaction Monday, but we'll react to everything that happened, plus the starting 5, 25 minutes away. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service at the best prices. Floor Meisters. FloorMeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, I thought it was a bad call, Michael.
It was my favorite call of the weekend, though. There's no penalty I enjoyed more than that one. I don't know for this show personally if I could have dreamed up a better weekend. Notre Dame and Denver losing.
I will say the USC fans very, very quietly took to X. They just said, how's the season going? We're 3-0. UCLA and Notre Dame are winless. How are you doing?
You know, I will say, Ryan, I did not think that was interference on Travis Hunter on that play. I thought that was a bad interference call, too.
But, and we'll get into this. God. Like Liam Cohen a lot. But, and I feel badly because if that wide receiver catches that pass from Trevor, they're winning that game.
But the pass was behind him there on that fourth down play. It was not a great
No, not
pass.
the fourth down. No. Earlier in the game, early in the fourth quarter when it was tied, and that receiver was open by 2 steps, and Trevor hit him with a perfect pass, and he dropped it, and he's in the end zone. It's a touchdown. They're up 7. And then they would see, then at the end, they kick the field goal. They're up 10. Game's over.
All right. I will say there was another ball Trevor threw earlier, I think third quarter, that he had a guy wide open and threw it underneath by 5 yards. I mean, no pressure, nothing, and he just missed a guy.
Yeah, and then he threw an end zone interception. I mean, he had moments of, wow, and then he had moments of, still Trevor.
You can't lose that game if you're Jacksonville. You just can't. By the way, do you have a problem with Dabo not calling timeout when they're running the fire drill kick? People were complaining that he had a timeout to ice him. I say you got to let him kick that. They're scrambling, they're running.
Yep,
I'm not
totally.
I have a buddy who is a golf pro right near Clemson, a lot of big money club, and has a lot of big donors, and they want Dabo's head. They're done.
Oh my! Well, then good. Then they deserve what they get.
I agree. I just
my goodness.
Push that to later this week, because we had enough to talk about today to bring up Dabo.
Those people need to go to a Clemson football history seminar. Seriously. I'm sorry. You've forgotten, obviously, who you're rooting for. No, it's a fire drill. They would.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton. Miller_Moulton on X. Gary Myers is going to join us. He's a very interesting guy. He's written 6 books. They've all made the New York Times bestseller list. That is really difficult to do. He wrote the Brady versus Manning book. He's got a new book, Brady versus Belichick, The Dynasty Debate. It comes out tomorrow. He'll be on the show later on today. And I'm in Houston. Listen, we have a Monday Night Football doubleheader. And I know most of you don't like it, but if before they kick off, it's like, wait a minute, we got 2 more games? Yeah, football weekend's not done. Little Bucks, Texans, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Heck, those in Huntsville get home from work. Might be eating with the game on. And John Harris covers the Texans, been with us for a long time. He'll join us at the top of our bonus hour. Okay, talk about it's a key game for Houston. Hate to start 0-2.
Absolutely. Bunch of teams facing that yesterday, and some succeeded, some did not.
Especially, Mark, with my Colts off to a 2-0 start.
You're right. We both picked the Colts to win straight up. They needed a little help.
They did.
But they get the win over Denver. But more concerning for Denver, just one game, but that defense, which is supposed to be great, was torched by Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes.
Torched, David.
Danny Dimes. Right.
Danny Dimes, Sam Darnold, bunch of quarterbacks out there just ripping it up yesterday as J.J. McCarthy struggled the entire game. I think he just got sacked again.
Yeah, I will say, if you're a Falcons fan, you're going, well, you got to give us credit. We knew we haven't had a pass rush for 10 years. We went out and invested a whole hell of a lot in a pass rush, and guess what we have? We have a pass rush. I don't know about some of the elements on our team, but it looks like we got a pass rush, so I got to give the front office credit.
Yeah, I mean, they got, 2 interceptions from rookies? They got a bunch of sacks from rookies, D linemen. What a great performance for Atlanta on the road yesterday, or last night, I should say.
And for those of you with is he now telling us it's Bijan? Is that it? Is that his thing when he introduced? It's Bijan, right? For how many years now we've been calling him Bijan? Okay, it's Bijan.
That's not the first athlete that's done it to us mid-career. This is just a slew of pronunciations that guys have gotten sick of. And no, you say it like this. Whatever, sir.
Well, here's what I know. Is he now the new number 1 fantasy guy? My goodness.
Well, he was drafted really high. I mean, he was a top 3 guy in everybody's league, if not top 2. So yes, very much so.
So see the new McCaffrey. Okay, going forward. Let's hope he stays healthy. He's a dynamite player. Looks awesome.
Exciting day for all you folks on Sunday yesterday that just like to bet over-unders, because the over killed, and we love overs as fans. Not David. David likes a good under.
That sounds almost filthy. Okay. Tell me a little something about your broadcast partner. Well, he loves a good under. Ooh, should I call the authorities? What? But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just listen, overs have style points and so do unders. So
No doubt.
continue, Mark.
No, that's it. It was an over day, and there was something developing late in the day, and it turned out it didn't fully appreciate. But David and I and our old producer are texting, and at one point it looked like both the Patriots and Giants were going to win. The Giants kind of let one slip away.
Well, they became the Giants at the end, and it doesn't help when the other team's got the best kicker in the league.
No, it doesn't.
Golly.
No, it doesn't. But that INT pick by Russ had a terrific game.
Yeah,
he played really well up until that overtime interception. That was just inexcusable to me.
Yeah, it is. But when you've done enough to have won that game 4 different times, okay, you get a pass on the last one. You do.
But David, there is one thing that you've talked about, and I'll say the last 4 years extensively, because the game's changed a lot in the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, teams have started to go for it on fourth down in ways that, as football fans, we had never seen before that. That field goals apparently are no longer good enough. And that brings us to Jacksonville.
Oh.
And you and I both freaked out as it was happening. I could not believe it. Liam Cohn, 4th and 5, up by 3, facing a backup quarterback. And give Browning all the credit in the world. He led them on a touchdown drive, and they won. I get it. And you could say they would have still won by a point. But in that moment, you are playing a backup quarterback and not telling him that he needs to get 7 to beat you, but he only needs 3 to tie is a hell of a big difference. And you and I both like Liam Cohn. We both think the Jags are in the right direction. And I was excited because I picked the Jags, and I have a soft spot for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have for a long time. What the hell was he thinking going for 4th and 5?
And I feel badly for him in this sense. It was tied early fourth quarter. I forget the guy. He's number 15 for the Jags. He's open in the end zone by 2 steps, and Trevor hits him with a perfect pass, and he drops it. And that was the game because they would have been up 7. They had to settle for a field goal instead. So then at the end, Mark, he kicks the field goal on 4th and 5 to go up 10, and the game's over. But instead, he's only up 3, and so he's thinking, I need to score a touchdown to put this game away. And you and I are thinking, and we're not thinking as bettors. We weren't. We're not thinking about we had the Jags in 3.5. We weren't. We're thinking about, come on, don't you have to make the backup quarterback score a touchdown to beat you here? Okay, is this risk worth the reward? And for some of you, it is. It's like, no, that's a gamble worth taking because if we convert it, we win the game. Okay. To me, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm screaming at the TV, kick the field goal. Even though I think Browning's one of the 5 best backups in the league, people listening to the show know I actually think he could start for 6 teams in this league. I like him a lot.
And for those of you that are into the analytics, let me give you this. This is from ESPN Analytics. They had it as an 84% win probability to go for the first down and a 78 win probability by kicking the field goal. Is that difference of 6% enough for you, go for it on 4th down guy, to do that? It's not for me. If it's Joe Burrow, different. If it's the backup, I don't know. And he delivered. He delivered. I didn't like the pass interference call, but hey, there are a lot of calls over the course of a game.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. Yeah. This is the first Sunday of the year Okay, there wasn't a single call seemingly anybody was complaining about league-wide. It was a remarkable week 1. That ain't the case week 2.
No, between that interference, between the leverage play in Denver, and how many times on the tush push did the Eagles commit procedure penalties? I mean, the video's all right there now. We can all see it. So it was not as good of a week 2 for the guys in stripes as it was for week 1.
But no, some of us, me more than most, and I spent a good part of Sunday, okay, watching all the games, screaming, kick the field goal. Dable passed up on a 4th and 2 in the second quarter. Okay, you don't know that Russ is going to have one of his best ever games at that point. You're the Giants. You struggle to score points. Kick the damn field goal. Came back to haunt him the whole game. Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is next.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think I texted you this, David, but I went to my Cuban place right after the show, like I said, on Friday. And I see a guy who's got he bought the Rays license plate where it's got the Tampa Bay Rays on the left, like the one you get from the state. And I saw him when I was pulling in. He must not have known where he was going because he went in front of me at a four-way. And I pulled in, got my food, and as I was pulling out, he was pulling in. I'm like, hey, like that license plate. Too bad they couldn't do it for you in September. And he just turned around and answered. He goes, love the show. Checking out the place because you told me to. I'm like, well, that's awesome.
Should have stuck around for the food review.
Hey, if he doesn't like it, it's on him. Mine was gone. I left the parking lot. It's at Miramar. By the time I got to the light at Estero Parkway, both the croqueta and the empanada were gone.
No evidence of that food crime at all.
I'd already shot Felipe a text, tell him I was thinking of him while I was there. He's like, and all of a sudden, he's like, I'm jealous. That place is so good. A half hour later, I get a text from Felipe. He'd gone to a Cuban joint and picked up a bunch of stuff.
It's funny. I thought of him out of nowhere yesterday. I should probably text him this anecdote. So I dozed off on the plane from Indianapolis to Houston yesterday. And when I woke up, they said, well, about 25 minutes we'll be landing. And Mark, out of nowhere, I thought to myself, well, I sure hope Felipe could land this plane. And I don't know why I thought that, but I don't know if I've ever said that to myself before on all the planes that I'm on, but for whatever reason yesterday I go, well, I sure hope Felipe could land this thing.
I do want to let you know today, David, today is National Double Cheeseburger Day.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
How about that stat? Until the stop at the beginning of the third quarter, the Dolphins had surrendered points on 12 drives to start the season.
Yes.
That is hard to do.
It is.
Paula, I would say the funniest Felipe moment. I don't even think it's, you know what? I respect your opinion, but I don't think it's close there. That segment of Felipe saying he can land a plane is money.
I mean, I could argue the only other thing that was close was when he fell asleep segment, and we couldn't get him to go to commercial break. And Mark had to get up out of the studio, leave the studio, and enter Felipe's part of it and throw something. I don't know how early I could text him and go, hey, I was thinking of you yesterday. Woke up from a nap on a plane and thought to myself, I sure hope Felipe could land this.
You can hit him pretty early because he's pretty good about keeping his notifications silenced. So he'll get it when he wakes up.
All right.
By the way, not only spaghetti and meatballs yesterday and sausage, made homemade pasta for the first time.
Ooh.
Amazing, by the way. A lot of fun. Whole family had to help. Daughter and I were doing the pasta. The wife was rolling it out. Did you see by chance the Travis Kelce outfit pregame?
I did not.
Kind of see, I think if I can pull it up and show you.
No, I was engrossed in Giants Cowboys.
I understand. It was so.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. 1 hour from now, Gary Myers. He's a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. He's an accomplished author. He's been an NFL columnist for 30 plus years. He's written 6 bestsellers. This could be his 7th. Brady versus Belichick, the Dynasty Debate. It's released tomorrow. We'll have him on the show 1 hour from now. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Well, you know what the heck? We'll start with the NFL. Dolphins got a 74-yard punt return from Malik Washington mid-fourth quarter to take the lead. Dolphins are going to win. Yeah, the ensuing kickoff, Antonio Gibson took it to the house, 90 yards, touchdown. Patriots in the lead. They don't give it up. Drake May, responsible for 3 touchdowns. New England comes into South Florida. By the way, weren't you impressed? 2 things about Vrabel. A, wearing that jacket the whole game. It's 90 degrees. Didn't that impress you?
Yes.
Okay, and then secondly, okay, when Gibson's taken it 90 yards for the touchdown, How about Vrabel, the speed he was running down the sidelines and did not pull a hammy at his age? I was impressed.
I saw a story recently, a clip snippet of talking about one of the draft picks when he went for his workout, and Vrabel was doing one-on-ones with the lineman, like full on. So there's nothing that this guy does that's going to surprise me with his sheer intensity during a game.
Patriots 33-27. Dolphins are 0-2. Oh, the Mike McDaniel watch is definitely on now. They're going to go to Buffalo in 3 days and lose to get to 0-3. Imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like at Hard Rock when the 0-3 Dolphins likely host the 0-3 Jets. And there's more Jets fans in attendance than Dolph fans.
Well, if you are planning on attending that game, I would advise you to wait as close to kick as possible, because yesterday, 30 minutes before game time, you could get a club seat for $62.
Jags had the Bengals, had them. Dropped a touchdown in the fourth quarter that would have put them up 7. Joe Burrow got hurt, was out. Jake Browning was in, and he was scuffling for most of the game. But Jags couldn't put him away. Tried to, went for it 4th and 5, deep in Cincinnati territory. Didn't convert. Browning let him down the field. It's not a quarterback sneak with 18 seconds to go. Bengals 31-27 over the Jags. Both teams, well, since he's 2-0, they're going to need it. We'll tell you why in a moment. The Eagles win the Super Bowl rematch 20-17. This is the 11th rematch the season after a Super Bowl. The team that won the Super Bowl, by the way, is 8-3 in the rematches. Eagles 2-0, Chiefs 0-2, first time in 11 years they're 0-2. Game of the day, you could argue, was in Big D. 41 fourth quarter points between the Giants and the Cowboys. In overtime, Dallas wins it 40-37. Giants 0-2, Cowboys 1-1. Lamar Jackson with 4 touchdowns. Baltimore 41-17 over Cleveland. Browns 0-2, Ravens 1-1. I think the Lions were angry at their performance in Green Bay and also at all the heat that they were taking after their performance in Green Bay. And remember, they wanted to show Ben Johnson that, hey, yeah, you did a great job for us, but, we can still score points without you. Lions 52-21 over the Bears. Goff with 5 touchdowns.
11th straight win for Detroit following a loss. I think that's a important statistic for Detroit fans.
That's what good teams do, Mark.
Damn right. And 14 straight taking the lead at halftime and winning.
Strange play in the Seahawks-Steelers game. Think we all saw it by now. Did that ball graze the Steelers kick returner? It was ruled that it did, and it was just laying in the end zone. He's walking off the field. George Halani of the Seahawks said, how about if I jump on it? And you tell me, is this a touchback or a touchdown? It was a touchdown. It was a big play in the Seahawks 31-17 win over the Steelers. Both teams are 1-1. Rams scored 20 unanswered points, beat Tennessee 33-19. They're 2-0. The Titans are 0-2. By the way, Cam Ward has been sacked more times in his first 2 games than any quarterback this century. I think he's been sacked 11 times. Never mind how many times he's been hit and hurried. Yeah. That's what happens when you throw the kid in, okay? You just hope he can survive it and not get damaged by it.
Some on him, but that line's dreadful, David. And that's a good defense he played against last week.
Did you see that Mahomes touchdown he threw, though, rolling all the way to his right and throwing it across his body to the back of the end zone on the far side?
Yeah, that's heady stuff right there, no doubt.
That's the Titans fan goes, we may suck, but I think that kid can play. You know who can play? James Cook and the Bills. They had an off day. They beat the Jets 30-10. Cook with 2 touchdowns. I don't think Josh Allen had a touchdown yesterday, rushing or throwing. Could be wrong. Bills are 2-0, though. Find me the loss on the Bills' schedule before November.
Ooh,
Just do that while I go through the rest of the
sounds
scores.
like fun.
Okay, it's a challenge. Niners, 3 touchdowns from Mac Jones. 26-21 San Fran over New Orleans. Niners start off 2-0 on the road. Saints are 0-2. They're on the clock. Spencer Schrader with a 45-yard field goal at the gun. That's after he missed a 60-yarder at the gun, but he got a reprieve because the Broncos got called for a 15-yard leverage penalty, which is shaky at best. I cost him the game. If I'm Sean Payton, he already thinks the league is against him for what he did back in 2012. So this is just more of the same. Indy, Danny Dimes, 29-28 over the Broncos. Colts are 2-0. So is Arizona. They edged Carolina 27-22. I'd like to thank the Cardinals, up 27-9 in the fourth quarter, for not covering. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Unbelievable. And Atlanta.
More on that in a moment.
They made a kicking change, and Parker Romo with 5 field goals. I don't think Koo's getting his job back. 22-6.
That's a great point. Funny thing about that kicker, he kicked for Minnesota last year after the game, said, I know far more guys in the other locker room than I know in this one.
22-6 Atlanta over the Vikings. Monday Night Football double dip tonight in Houston, 7 o'clock Eastern kickoff. Bucks and Texans on ABC. Houston, a 2.5-point favorite. Then at 10 o'clock on the 4-letter network, Chargers, a 3.5-point favorite in Vegas. Cowboys signed Jadeveon Clowney after the win against the Giants. He's going to replace Micah Parsons. By the way, they're getting the 32-year-old Clowney, not the 22-year-old Clowney. And Joe Burrow, turf toe, big toe on his left foot. Remember, the turf toe has ended the careers of Jack Lambert and Deion Sanders, okay? It's a serious injury. He's going to see a specialist. If they recommend surgery, he's going to miss 3 months. Oh, okay. College football, 2 Power 4 head coaches were fired. UCLA, after losing 35-10 to New Mexico, they said bye-bye to Deshaun Foster. And Virginia Tech, after being down 31-0 at the half at home to Old Dominion, and then losing by 19, they said goodbye to Brent Pry.
Our guy Scott Jackson must have had a fun day calling that game. Isn't he the voice of ODU?
I sent him a text at halftime. I said, come on, have some compassion. Take it easy on the Hokies, will you?
Wasn't just a loss by all accounts. The place, it was not, I mean, it was at home. It emptied at halftime. When you're an athletic director and you look around at an empty stadium again at the half, it's time.
Which is okay, because there were like 3,000 people in the Rose Bowl for UCLA, New Mexico. It's the biggest looking stadium in the world, okay? There are others that hold more seats, but no stadium looks bigger than the Rose Bowl. Imagine what 3,000 people in that place looks like. AP rankings are out. Ohio State, Penn State, LSU remain the top 3. Miami up to 4. Boy, you were right, Mark. They dismantled South Florida. Whew. And Georgia up to 5. Georgia up to 5, escaping in Knoxville. 11 SEC teams are ranked. This is like the softball poll, apparently. 11 SEC teams are ranked, including Vandy at number 20. Notre Dame makes history. They're 0-2, and they're still ranked. And again, they have lost to the teams ranked 4th and 10th in the country by a total of 4 points. I'm not exactly outraged that they're ranked 24th in the country. They're probably like the 15th best team in the country. But anyway, USC and Georgia Tech are ranked for the first time this year. South Carolina, Clemson, and South Florida all drop out of the rankings. By the way, Florida State didn't play last week, right? They were idle this past Saturday, weren't they? Yeah, they moved up 3 spots to 7. That's always good when you can beat Idle and move up 3 spots.
Idle has depth. The teams they play on a weekly basis, I don't think people recognize the depth of Idle.
Mark, Idle is undefeated, but they're also winless. It's confounding. Baseball, Yankees went for the sweep in Boston, didn't get it. Red Sox scored 6 in the first to win 6-4. Judge hit his 48th homer. Toronto won, so they lead the Yankees by 4 because they swept the Orioles over the weekend, 11-2. Tigers their 17th shutout this year. By the way, they're tied with one other team. Which team is it? Tigers beat the Marlins 2-0. Their lead 6.5. Their magic number 7. So the first place Tigers have 17 shutouts, and the last place Pirates have also shut out their opponents 17 times.
Bigger news for the Tigers in the win yesterday, though. Skubal, who pitched on Friday and left with soreness, they don't think it's a big deal. It's day-to-day, and if you're a Tigers fan, that has to be a huge relief.
Yeah, if I'm the Tigers, he ain't pitching before the playoffs.
You're damn right. Maybe one to get them ready, if you know what I mean.
Maybe 4 innings, yeah. Guardians 3-2 over the White Sox. They sweep. They won 8 of 10. They're just 2.5 back of Houston for the wild card. And I said it, Houston is holding down the final playoff spot because they got beat by the Braves 8-2. They're a game behind the big dumper and the Mariners. He hit number 54, tying Mantle for the most homers in a season by a switch hitter. Seattle's won 9 in a row. They beat the Angels 11-2. They lead the West by a game. Mets snap an 8-game skid. They won 5-2 and 10. Okay, Toronto, over Texas. Texas remains 2 behind Houston for the final playoff spot. I couldn't read my writing there. I thought it was Toronto. It was Texas. All right, Royals beat the Phillies. That's significant because while the Phillies clinched the playoff spot yesterday, if they had won, they would have clinched the East. Officially, their magic number is 1. Cardinals beat the Brewers 3-2. Milwaukee's leads down to 5.5. Their magic number is 9. Cubs did take 2 of 3 from the Rays. They won yesterday 4-3. They're 5.5 back. A's swept the Reds, Mark. Good news for us in a sense. The A's are going to hit the over. Bad news for the Reds. They're 2.5 behind the Mets for the final playoff spot, and they don't own the tiebreaker. The Giants do own the tiebreaker against the Mets, but they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, including 10-2 yesterday. They're a 1.5 games behind the Mets. Dodgers lead over the Padres is 2.5. San Diego beat Colorado. Arizona 6-4 over Minnesota. Washington 4-3 over the Pirates. Bristol Saturday night. Remember when this used to be a big deal? Saturday night race at Bristol. Christopher Bell won it. Brad Keselowski, still looking for his first win, was second. Ross Chastain finished 19th, but he does advance in the playoffs. Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Josh Berry were the 4 drivers eliminated. Hey, Scotty Scheffler won for the 6th time this year. He chased down Ben Griffin to win by 1 on the PGA Tour. Ryder Cup in 11 days. All right, the amateur Jackson Coven was in the final group on Sunday and finished T4. He's 20. It's his second top 5 of the year. Did I mention he's an amateur? And on the LPGA, Mark, Charlie Hull, her first win in 3 years, won in Cincinnati by 1. WNBA playoffs, 3 of the top 4 seeds at home won. Okay, Minnesota, Vegas, and Atlanta. Meanwhile, the Liberty, they're the 5 seed. They went into Phoenix, won game 1 in overtime.
Charlie Hall may not be smoking anymore, but she's still a smoke show.
And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories and a smoke show here on Miller and Moulton.
So I looked at the Buffalo schedule. The only chance that I see for a loss before November, and you might laugh me out of the room, a Monday night at Atlanta.
Okay.
That's as good as I can do.
Yeah, the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC is going through Orchard Park. Okay, I'll put the X and the Y next to them in the standings right now.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, Cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports, in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say, I guess blocks don't work because I admitted to everybody I blocked them. I'm not dealing with it. I got enough going on in my world right now to have somebody who's just who their goal in life is to try to be rotten and tell me I'm stupid. I don't have time for it anymore. I really don't. He's a troll. That's what it is. You know, it's what people do.
Well, I mean, GTW fan, be worried if you get steamrolled by the Guardians. I mean, just a quick story. I'm a Mets fan. Mets were 7-up with 17 to play. They had a 3-game series with the Phillies, and it was in New York. And I remember thinking, well, if the Mets don't get swept, this thing's over. And they got swept. So to me, that would be the key. When I don't know who you play where, 3 or 4. I don't know if it's home. I don't know if it's at their place. If you just don't get swept in that first series against them, the math is so much in your favor. Oh, Stumpy, there's no doubt about it. That the whole Herbert versus Tua thing, we were wrong. No.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we
were wrong.
Wrong. Tua's just bad. I mean, bad.
I mean, McDaniel has helped break him. The predictability of the offense.
Yeah, McDaniels, it is. And I know they scored points. I get it. But.
Yeah. Yes, Paul. There might have to be a baker's dozen. We may have to go to 13.
And I mean, let's just go over the bad beats.
Oh, geez.
You know what? Let's wait for it'll be more fun to do it with a segment with everybody listening. Let that marinate for 21 minutes.
Golly.
I will say this, Irish. You're rent-free in my head. You come in here every morning. I get paid to do this. And you come in here to attack me when I tell you you're a troll, a loser, and a bad human being. I know I was wrong all the time. Went 4-1 on my picks. I know I'm wrong all the time. All the time. Carson Beck's going to be a terrible quarterback. Oh, yeah. Right. I know I'm stupid. I'm not funny. I've only been doing this for 20 years. I mean, I know.
I just text you. I sent you the last one.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Overreaction Monday, perhaps. Monday Night Football, 2 games this Monday. An early one, 7 Eastern, 6 Central in Houston. The Bucs and the Texans. That's why you could see a little bit of the city of Houston behind me if you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube. And the late game, Chargers and Raiders. And one of them is going to be leading the AFC West at 2-0 with a 2-game lead on the Chiefs, who are 0-2 for the first time in 11 years. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Gary Myers, terrific NFL writer, author of many books, most of them on football. He wrote Brady versus Manning. Now he's written Brady versus Belichick, the Dynasty Debate. It's released tomorrow. We'll have him on the show in 35 minutes. So normally, for where we're located, and our show airs in 6 markets, 5 of them are in the state of Florida, we'd be spending a whole lot of time on the Gators and the Fins. Are the stories almost becoming boring now? I mean, has the story been written and it's up to the Gators and Dolphins, Mark, to rewrite the story for us to get all bent out of shape about it?
Are they boring? You know, David, boring is 7 and 10 in the NFL. Boring is, I guess, 8 and 4 in college. They are a little beyond boring because, well, they're bad. And not so much, you know, I actually feel for the Gator fan a little bit. I do. As someone on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line pointed out, they've had opportunities against South Florida, a couple touchdowns called back because of penalties. The holding call on the touchdown against LSU was questionable at best.
Agreed.
I mean, at best. Now, I will say with the way DJ played, even if you give them 6 points there, is it a different game? Yes, I think so. Do they win? I have no idea. A lot of football after that. So I get what you're saying. And I thought it was interesting that you and I both received a post from Martin, I believe, over the weekend that said, you know, you could roll back that poll question on the Napier-McDaniel who gets fired first.
Right.
On Monday. And
that could just be our Monday poll question, right? Okay.
Well, it depends on what happens Friday morning after the game in Buffalo. Edge McDaniel.
What do you mean it depends? What do you think
No,
is
no,
going to
I
happen
said what
Thursday
happens
night?
Friday. I didn't. You didn't listen. I didn't say what happens Thursday. We all know what's going to happen Thursday. They're going to get their ass kicked. By Friday, he could get fired. Napier may not even be in South Florida yet, and McDaniel could be packing his desk. That's what I mean. He has a 2-day edge. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. But I just wonder, now are the stories with both teams to the point of, okay, wake me when Napier's fired and McDaniel and Greer are sent packing and the Dolphins have a new regime? That's what I wonder. Have we jumped, because there's so much angst from Dolphin, and that was before losing the home opener yesterday. So, where do they go? I mean, they were so angry last week. So angry. Well, I mean, as you like to say, what are you going to do? Take it to 11? And Gator fan, they lost to South Florida. They knew the 4-game gauntlet they got coming up here. Okay. On one side of the ball, they were good enough to win. On the other side, the quarterback and the coach did a horrible job. They lost, and they're looking at this gauntlet, which, by the way, just got tougher now. Why? Because A&M went and won a big game against a quality team. And you're like, oh, I guess I really do have to take A&M seriously. Quick sidebar. I was on the plane with a bunch of A&M people yesterday. I flew out of Indianapolis. Okay, and there were a lot of A&M folks who made it from South Bend to Indy to fly to Houston, which is where I am now. It's a little over an hour from College Station. Let me tell you, A&M fan on the flight, there was a grown man, tears welling up in his eyes. He said, it's our second biggest win in 10 years. Only the Alabama game 4 years ago at night do I think was bigger. And I go, what do you mean? You were a mediocre team. He goes, yeah, it's Alabama. He goes, but we won a big game. We never win a big game. We won a big game on the road. We don't win against good teams on the road. I mean, seriously, this is a grown man. Okay, he had tears welling up in his eyes yesterday morning. And Mark, how you see a fellow Spartan and what, you go green and they go white?
Yep.
Mark, down the aisle for 10 minutes yesterday. Gig 'em.
Love it.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So anyway, back to our story at hand.
But, all right, I'll get crucified for this. The Gators have had a lot of bad breaks on offense. Can Napier do anything to fix it? And if I were to paint the picture that in this SEC right now, I mean, Georgia looks like they're okay, but they should have lost that football game. That's a kick that you're supposed to make.
And he made 5 minutes later.
Right. And in modern college football, modern pro football, that's a kick that's made. I mean, even Kirby after the game, there was no excitement in his voice. I mean, he felt like he was, like someone had a pillow over his face and let it up at the last instant so he could live.
Well, Mark, Kirby's from the Nick family. And what I mean, if you ever remember Nick in the past, when Nick's defense gave up points, Nick was apoplectic. Okay, honestly, Nick, he didn't care if he won 38-35. If he gave up 35 points, he was absolutely miserable. Kirby's defense got shredded. Kirby's miserable, absolutely miserable. That's why he was the way he was, Mark.
I get it. So, but I guess what I'm saying is and I've said this a couple of times already this morning, when I look at the SEC, I don't know. If somehow like Florida and Texas, who's impressed with Texas right now?
Oh my goodness. OMG. No, and certainly not the fans.
I mean, if Texas were, and I didn't look at what the line is for Miami and Florida yet. I'm guessing it's Florida 7-ish. I mean, Miami 7-ish.
Right.
Miami 7-ish. Let me ask you, you're pretty good at picking lines. I think we both have been pretty good at this over the years. If Texas were playing Miami this week, what would the line be? The Canes would be favored, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So
4.5, 5.5.
Yeah. So I don't I am so uncertain about the SEC right now. A&M looked great offensively. Notre Dame run up a lot of points on them. It was a great win for A&M. Tennessee seemingly did what they wanted to offensively against Georgia. That's a decent football team. I mean, I don't know if 11 teams in the SEC deserve to be ranked, David, but to try to sort out who the best teams in the SEC right now, pull them out of a hat.
Well, and in theory, this is the way this conference is going to be going forward. And it's up to the Big Ten to have enough teams in the middle to get their acts together to make the Big Ten this way. For the longest time, even though the SEC for the last generation has been the best, you had 2 or 3 teams every year that were clearly better than the rest of the league. Mark, you're right. This is the very first time since probably the early 2000s, okay, before Urban and Tebow, and then Nick came back, okay, around 06, everything changed. You started getting super teams in the SEC. LSU won the Natty in 2003. They shared it. Auburn's team was undefeated in 04, didn't even get to play for it. So, but it's been about 25 years here where you had 2 or 3 teams in the SEC and then the rest. Okay, Mark, now this league could be the NFL. I mean, hell, if Vandy's going to get in on the act, holy mackerel, is this league going to be a problem?
So I think it's a little more boring talking about the Dolphins, to your first question, than it is about the Gators, because I can still point out a ton of positives with the Gators. I'm having a difficult time doing that at all with the Miami Dolphins.
Well, I'll circle it right now. I said it preseason. The Texas-Florida game is the game. Now, obviously, I didn't think Florida was going to lose to South Florida, but I thought they were going to be 2-2 bye week, and then they were hosting Texas, and I said they were going to beat them, and they're going to have to. It looks like they're going to have to, and if they do, also, what's it going to do for Sark and Arch and the Longhorns? I mean, that game's looking really big on the schedule right now.
I mean, they were getting booed on Saturday in Austin.
Yeah, Arch looked terrible. I mean, Barkley, terrible.
By the way, David, I'm going to give you some kudos because there was one day I suggested for a poll question before the show, who's going to win the Heisman? And I mean, David went nuts on it.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just going to give you right now the top 5 favorites. And I don't know if these are Phil Steele's or if this is the odds. This was as of June 3rd. Klubnik for Clemson. Was your odds-on favorite in June to win the Heisman. Right. He has no chance. That's over. He has no chance to get to New York now. Nussmeier, he could still get there, but that was a hell of an interception late. Arch, that's done. DJ Lagway, no chance. Those are the top 4 betting favorites for the Heisman back in June. Proving like that, and at least those are odds that you can bet on and go find somebody and maybe make some money if you're good enough at it. But this is why the early season polls have infuriated David and I for 20 years.
Yep, they're not going to go away. It's kind of like bowl games. I'll make that trade right now, by the way. Right now. I'd look right at everybody in the sport and say, I'll sacrifice polling before Columbus Day if you sacrifice 20 bowl games. What do you say? Deal?
Text line's 21,000. It's brought to you by Pelican Roofing of Florida. 1-866-9-PELICAN, commercial or residential, statewide. Pelican Roofing of Florida, proud sponsor of Miller and Moulton and sponsor of our text line.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available, delivery's always available. And tell them Floor Meisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floor Meisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floor Meisters, floormeisters.com.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I know it's not, but that sounded like a vegetable. It sounded healthy. I didn't watch you chew. I just heard the chew. I'm like, I know it's something bad for you, but it sounded
Okay.
healthy, David.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to take a bite for about a minute. I'm going to let people guess. Based
Ooh.
on the crunching, and I'm in a hotel room, all right, and an upscale hotel, by the way. I mean, a true 5-star hotel. What do you think it is?
That was a lot of crunch there. A
Mhm.
lot of crunch.
Mhm. Not an energy bar. They don't even have an energy bar available to me.
And energy bars don't have that kind of crunch typically.
Not an apple. No, a pickle. That'd be great. Man, that'd be my favorite hotel room overnight. Man, what's that smell? Oh, they got pickles. Close. Close. Somebody was close there. Okay. It was a potato chip, but it was not a kettle potato chip. It was original Pringles.
Oh, all right.
Yep. By the way, this is how upscale this hotel is. I left my charger in the press box at Purdue. And I have a slightly older phone. So, the newest of chargers don't work. The connection's too small. So I go to the front desk and go, do you have a place here or nearby where I could get a phone charger? And they go, oh, we got one for you. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we'll charge $10 to your card. And, but if you return it, we'll take the $10 back. I'm like, you have a phone charger? So I have a phone charger. Puck, JW Marriott. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Yep. EB, that is true. That is a new sponsorship opportunity. Okay. Guess what David's eating during the show. That comes good point.
Actually, we could I could create, we got the Miller and Moulton and stuff. I could literally take our logo off and put a title sponsor on the bottom line of that, and they could sponsor our YouTube and Twitch page if we ever needed to come up with something else.
Yeah. Michael, do you guys pay attention to this show or no? How many times have I said I'm in Houston?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. Moulton's in Houston for the Bucks and the Texans. We played a little game during the commercial break. See, it's another reason to check us out occasionally on Twitch and YouTube because, I'm hungry and I raid whatever's in the room. And I'm not talking about what I brought because I don't ever bring it. Occasionally, I'll bring a couple of breakfast bars with me on the road. But no. I'm raiding the room. So I open up the drawer, and I know it's expensive, and it's going to get charged. At this point, it's a game. It's like, okay, what am I going to pay $8 for? How about that? Small can of Pringles. Yeah, all right, we can have that for breakfast. Sure.
Small can of Pringles. Well, David, I actually misspoke. I had a good week. It could have been a great week. But, Miami ran that punt back to take the lead, and then New England ran the kickback and never relinquished the lead. So you and I, who both had the Dolphins, would end up losing that game.
Yes, we would, Mark.
And while Georgia did win in overtime, they don't kick extra points after the game is won. If they would have, 3.5 would have been okay. But I lost.
Correct.
So I lost 2. Vandy, East Carolina, and the Eagles winning for me, giving me a 3-2 week.
By the way, I do think you deserve credit. You not only picked the Chiefs to fall to 0-2, and you not only picked Vandy to win, you bet the Eagles and laid the points, and you bet on Vandy.
And told everyone to take the money line as well. I said they were going to win outright.
So I do think, not only did you have a winning week, but, TJ from Floormeister sent me an email, and he was like, hey, how about Mark with the Vandy pick? I go, yeah, I know. I should listen to him.
Now, knocking the quarterback out early in the game certainly helped Vanderbilt's cause.
Yeah,
but it's too bad because you want to see Sellers play. He's a talent. Kid can just throw it. He's fun to watch. So I love that Vandy. You know me, I get sucked in with these documentaries. And that SEC one that I watched over the summer, that Diego kid's fun. There's just no two ways about it. He's fun. He's a little obnoxious. He's cocky as all hell, and he's delivering.
Plus, you said it last week. There's the kid who's just the really good, enjoyable college player that the odds are monstrous that he's never going to see the light of day at the next level. So what? You enjoy him for what he is. Anthony Beck's kid, the quarterback at Iowa State. I love watching him play. I do. I think he's a mini Baker Mayfield. Okay. But is he ever going to get a shot even with somebody on Sunday? I don't know. It might be a Brock Purdy 7th round type shot. But yeah, Rocco Becht and Diego Pavia. All right.
All right.
Great stories.
So let's get to David's picks.
Oh, jeez.
He made 8 of them.
I did.
He did win a couple.
And that's it.
Cincinnati with the late score, -3.5. That's a win.
Yeah, by a half.
Tulane, never a doubt. Never a doubt.
Yep.
That's a good football team. I hope South Florida gets a shot at them in the American Conference Championship because they don't play in the regular season.
Nope.
We've talked about South Florida having to go to Navy, having to go to Memphis, both good teams. Can South Florida now into conference play? They got a cakewalk this week, and then they start conference play. Let's hope they can rebound from what was an overwhelming game for them at the back end of 3 really good games, and Miami just took it to them. But let's get to the losses. So USF was a loss, whatever. That just didn't happen. Clemson, -2.5.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, play away from overtime there.
1 play away from overtime. And for people out there, and I don't mean our listeners, the national people who were questioning Dabo's clock management of not calling a timeout to ice the kicker, they're running a fire drill. You can't call it. To me, you cannot call a timeout there. I do not question what Dabo did in that moment. You can question other things about the game if you would like. But his clock management at the end, David, I don't know about you, but I had no problem not calling a timeout on a fire goal field goal.
Also,
Fire drill field goal. Sorry.
How long was that field goal again?
55 yards, the longest kick in Georgia Tech history.
Thank
The
you.
longest kick in the history of the school.
Right. And they're doing it in a fire drill situation. Ask yourself this. Stop looking at it from the Clemson perspective. Ask yourself this. Did Georgia Tech hope Clemson called a timeout, yes or no? Damn right they did. Damn right they hoped Clemson would call a timeout to ice the kicker.
So that's 1. I'll give you 2. Nevada, Middle Tennessee State. While I mocked David immensely for even having this game on his card, how'd that one work out for you?
Well, Middle Tennessee State didn't score for the first 53 minutes of the game. You know why, Mark? Because they suck. They're terrible. Okay? Well, they're not that terrible because down 13-0, they scored 2 unanswered touchdowns and beat Nevada at Nevada, and they were getting 9.5.
Pitt and West Virginia. And it's a rough day today for our buddy Lee Sterling. That was his 50-unit play. And Pitt, I watched the whole game. They were dreadful. And yet being dreadful, still take a 10-point lead late in the game, managed to blow it.
Not just the cover, they blew the game.
By the way, I'm not a monster fan of, and I should be because I love to swear, but I'm not a monster fan of fan bases cursing in unison at college games. But the Sweet Caroline rendition that West Virginia does at games where they say eat blank Pitt, it's funny. It just is. I'm sorry. It's funny.
By the way, quick sidebar, let's give Pitt and West Virginia a lot of credit. Before the game, they announced they extended the home and home 10 years. Because this was the last game on the schedule for a good while. They extended the home and home for 10 years. Good. It's the one game each fan base wants to see every year. Good job by those 2 schools.
By the way, anybody that's ever going to entertain Pat Narduzzi for a job, and I think that ship has sailed, don't. I'm sorry. He's an average coach at best. Let's go to Sunday now.
Oh, thanks, because I'm 1-4 on Saturday. So let's.
Right. So we already talked about that we lost the Miami game and you won the Cincinnati game. So you're left with one pick in your Elite Eight. Arizona was leading, was it 27-3?
And it was 27-9 in the fourth quarter, Mark.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And they had to hold on and get a sack to win 27-22. Arizona laying 6.5.
Yep.
That's 2-6, everybody.
Yes, it is.
That
Yes,
is
it
a
is.
4-14 start for Mr. Moulton.
Last year I started 3-12. I've decided to go a little further this year, 4-14. Thank you very much.
I am now 7-8 on the young season. Lee Sterling is 6-8 with tonight pending, but more discerning. He lost his 50 unit play, so he's 1-1 on his big bets, still over 70% lifetime, but he's 0-3 in his games of the week.
Because he had Notre Dame laying 6.5, which, by the way, when they botched the extra point, that was pretty much going to be it for Lee in his game of the week. But then to compound it, because in some places the line was 6, Notre Dame gives up the game-winning touchdown on 4th and 13. Right. Interesting dilemma A&M fans have. They're thrilled with the win, and while the quarterback did a lot of great things, Mark, he did a lot of it running, he also missed 3 guys wide open for touchdowns in the game. I mean, A&M fans, like, I'm thrilled he got us the win. I'm wondering, do we need to go to the backup, though, if we want to seriously contend? Because the backup will hit those 3 kids who were wide open.
But oftentimes on Saturday, the guy who can do it with his legs can be as valuable as the guy that can do it with his arm.
Did anybody see, by
it's
the
a
way,
hell of a question.
I don't know if Van Pelt had it. Maybe he'll have it tonight. Worst beat of the weekend. Did anybody see the final play of the Penn State-Villanova game?
It is arguably the most horrific bad beat that I have ever seen.
Oh, my goodness. What are they, 38.5-point favorites? They're up 42-0. 4th down for Villanova on like the 15. The quarterback's running for his life.
His life. He was nearly sacked, I think, twice. Somehow escapes to his right, and as he's running towards the sideline, heaves one to the back of the end zone.
And a guy who's double covered goes up and makes an Odell Beckham catch for the cover.
And barely gets a foot in bounds. I mean, he is on the back line.
Unreal.
Miller and Moulton. When we come back, Gary Myers wrote yet another book. Every book he writes is a New York Times bestseller. Maybe this one will be too. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You can get away with that in September. When everybody jumps on in October, I can't get away with that because we don't have the space, but we just blew through that break. Well, I will say, EB, the one thing you have to understand, Lee's games on our show are not the games he gives to his clients. Now, I don't know if the games of the week are. I feel horrible for him in that Pitt, West Virginia game. Horrible. Because Pitt was, lousy. That was wow. I don't give West Virginia a ton of credit. I mean, I give them credit for the win, don't get me wrong, but the whole pit dug themselves in and then got out of and still couldn't hold on. Amazing.
Plus, EB, I'll say in defensively, he got his big money play right the week before.
Right. Apparently, my alma mater, when it's a first down, I've not been to a game in Spartyville since Jake was like 11. Apparently, when there's a first down, the students all yell first down, B word.
Huh.
Yeah. Class it up, Sparty. Also the same school that when Jeff Smoker was getting in all kinds of trouble with his extracurriculars was yelling, instead of go green, go white, smoke green, snort white.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
It really is.
Michael, I don't think he's as good as Allstott. I don't. I mean, he's an NFL player, and I think he can be a solid player. But, I mean, isn't Allstott in the Ring of Honor for the Bucks?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to say borderline Hall of Famer because I'm not saying that, but Allstott's a high. Yes, he is. He's Ring of Honor. He's a high end.
Yeah, so and Mike Allstott was a dude.
But, you know, if he can be 75% of that, Michael, that would be amazing.
That'd be a really nice career. I'm a Brian Daboll defender. Him inserting Jackson Dart into that game yesterday at least 2 times. What in the world? Fam, that's when we thought back when neck rolls actually did something and it helped. Yeah, DC, that was great. It was tough losing more to the Falcons. That was tough. I actually played more games with the Falcons.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thrilled once again to have Gary Myers on. He's a Football Hall of Fame voter, a prestigious NFL writer, and he writes best-selling books. This one's going to be another one. He doesn't need to be spending 15 minutes with Miller and Moulton, but he always makes time for us. He's written another book, Brady versus Belichick, The Dynasty Debate. Follow Gary on X at Gary Myers, MYERSNY. Gary Myers, NY. Gary, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Good morning. How are you?
Well, good morning. What do you mean I need to be spending a few minutes with you? Come on.
Well, we're thrilled. That's all we're saying. I mean, you're a big deal. You're going to be doing big shows, and you're spending time with us. Listen, I know we ask you the same question every time. Why, but also, what did you do differently, if anything, with Brady versus Belichick, the dynasty debate, that you did when you wrote Brady versus Manning?
Well, first of all, I did this book because to me it's one of the most fascinating and maybe unanswered questions of this generation of the NFL. Is you take the guy who's considered the greatest quarterback of all time, who became the greatest quarterback of all time, and the guy who became the greatest coach of all time, and that happened because of each other. But then when you look at the 20 years together and 9 Super Bowl championships appearances, and then 6 championships, I thought it was just a great topic to explore of how do you divide the credit. They both deserve credit, but who deserves the majority of credit? And so I just went about talking to as many people as I possibly could, and to get opinions and tell some behind-the-scenes stories. And I hope it's a pretty entertaining book. We know that Tom's pretty much in the news every week because he does a lot of appearances and he's on national TV. And Belichick has kind of made himself relevant in a almost bizarre kind of way this season with his personal life and then coaching at North Carolina. This book is completely different than Brady versus Manning because that was an on-field rivalry. This turned out to be a rivalry, Brady-Belichick, but early on they were certainly kind of working hand in hand in developing what happens in New England.
And obviously, as this has deteriorated, if you will, and they've both gone in different directions, particularly on the field, Brady had success post-Belichick. We're still waiting for Belichick to have similar success post-Brady. How much of that do you focus on?
Well, I certainly, discussed it in the book, but and you guys might not agree with this part of it, but I really think what they did together after Brady went to Tampa and won the championship in his first season and then made the playoffs his last 2 years versus what Belichick did, missing the playoffs 3 out of 4 years in New England before he got fired. I really think it's irrelevant to the argument. Now, I understand, people say, wow, Brady proved and he can win without Belichick, and Belichick, no matter where he's been, has never won without Brady. But the things I explored was what they did together and how the responsibilities and accountability and all that stuff factored into it. That what they did when they were apart, they were just in different circumstances. I think, Tom didn't have a lot of choices when he left New England, but he certainly picked the right place because you guys well know they went 7-9 the year before he got there, even though Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions. I know he threw 33 touchdowns, but, bringing in somebody who wasn't going to give the other team that many opportunities to score is all the Bucs really needed, and they wound up getting the greatest quarterback in NFL history. So that Buck team was loaded. People didn't realize it at the time because they weren't a high-profile team, but, they had a really good defense and certainly had a good enough offensive line, and they went ahead and drafted Tristan Wirfs a month after they got Brady, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and all the rest. They had a team that was ready to win. So the problem in New England, what Belichick didn't measure up, is he didn't have a succession plan in place once he was forced to trade Jimmy Garoppolo in 2017, and he let the overall talent level of the team dissipate to the point when I interviewed Belichick for the book, he told me that Tom made the absolute right decision leaving New England because the team wasn't structured for him to win at that point.
Talking with Gary Myers, author of many best-selling books. This looks to be another one. Brady versus Belichick, the Dynasty Debate. It gets released tomorrow. You can follow Gary on X at Gary Myers, MYERSNY. Gary Myers, NY. Listen, You've been covering the NFL for 40 years. You're very knowledgeable. What did you learn about either guy or about their dynamic? Give me something that you learned that you went, huh, I'll be damned.
Wow, that's a great question. First of all, I went into this with a pretty good institutional knowledge because even though I worked in New York, I was a national NFL writer for the Daily News here, so I covered a lot of Patriot games.
Sure.
And certainly, all their Super Bowls except for the last one. So I knew a lot going in, but I think what I learned, I'd known Tom Brady Sr. for many years, going back to my Brady Manning book, but I really didn't fully appreciate the level of his dislike of Belichick and how he treated Tom. And I think that, and I might be wrong about this, but I always thought that, and I think this even more now, I always think that what Tom Brady Sr. says is really what Tom Brady, the quarterback, is thinking, but can't say on his own because it would make him look bad. But he and his dad are really close, and they talk all the time. And I just think a lot of the opinions that Tom Brady Sr. expressed were really what Tom was thinking himself, but couldn't. So, and then the level of it, just was much worse than I knew going into the research of this book. I think the other thing that really, kind of stands out to me is how when I really dug into this, that it was really all Tom the second half of the dynasty there. From a distance, and then going up there, like I mentioned, to cover a lot of their games, you kind of see the talent level in 2017 wasn't what it was in 2007, but it was much worse as I looked into it, and Belichick was relying totally on Tom to raise the level of play of his teammates, and Brady's resentment for that was a result of he always took under market contracts in order to give Belichick more room under the salary cap to bring in talent, to keep it a Super Bowl contending, team, and he just Belichick kept messing up draft after draft. His free agent signings were never very good. And I think after a while, Tom was going, I left all this money on the table to help you, and you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. I really got into that in the book. And again, I think everybody was aware that there was a lot of friction at the end, but maybe weren't aware of how bad it really became.
When did the friction start? Did it start with having to trade Garoppolo, and was that the pinpoint of when the Brady Belichick relationship started to deteriorate, or was it after that?
I think it actually happened when they beat Seattle in the game that was after the 2014 season, and I think the cause of that really. I mean, if you paid attention to the relationship over the years, you know that Belichick was always really hard on Brady. He can go out and throw 4 touchdowns in a 28-3 win, but he'd throw one meaningless interception, and the interception would be all that Belichick would focus on at the Monday morning meeting, the team meeting. And he felt Tom liked to be coached hard, and he didn't mind it early on when Belichick got all over him. And he soon understood, well, he's doing it because he feels if he can pick on me, then he can pick on the 35th guy on the roster, and he'll have no reason to complain. If he picks on Brady, then he can pick on me. I better shut up. But after the fourth Super Bowl, when they broke that 10-year drought between championships, I think that's when Brady just kind of figured, you know what, enough. Find somebody else. I think I've proven myself to you. I understand what you were doing, but I do have a boiling, you've crossed the line now. And I don't want to be treated like this anymore. But Belichick never changed. And so I think that was really the beginning of it. He was always, complimentary of Brady publicly, but much more effusive in his praise in the years that Brady left New England, and certainly now that Belichick's not there anymore. If he treated Tom publicly with 50% of the respect he shows to him now, I think they both would have finished their career in New England.
Brady versus Belichick, the dynasty debate. Gary Myers is the author of the book that is released tomorrow. His previous books have been New York Times bestsellers. This one will likely be as well. Gary, a final question for me, because you know a lot of people in NFL circles. Can Bill get another NFL job, or has that ship sailed? Because, we're talking about the Dolphins. That is an hour away from being a grease fire and probably going to need a new regime change. And I'm just wondering, is Belichick still on NFL owners and GMs' radars, or did he take the North Carolina job because he realized, yeah, he's done?
I think, I know that he took the Carolina job because he couldn't get an NFL job. Atlanta was really interested in him after the 2023 season, and then the stories, the Kraft badmouthed him to Arthur Blank. Whether that happened or not, I've heard varying stories. And then last year, he took the Carolina job before the hiring cycle even began in the NFL. Now, he had sent out feelers. He even called somebody that was an intermediary with the New York Jets, and we know how much he hates the Jets. And for him to have to make that phone call must have just been humiliating. And then after the Jets finished laughing, they said, "Of course not, we're not going to hire you." I thought there was a chance that even after he went to Carolina that he would go to the Raiders with Brady, because they get along fine now. The years apart have kind of healed all the wounds that was self-inflicted for the most part. And they had a conversation, but from what I was told, it was more Tom picking his brain about structuring the organization. Maybe the coaching situation came up in the conversation. Neither one of us said that. But I think he's done in the NFL. I really do. If he couldn't get a job his first 2 years out, he'd almost have to win, or at least get deep into the college football playoffs to get the attention of NFL teams. And I don't even think that would help. Truly, I'm not passing judgment on another man's life, but the whole thing with the 24-year-old girlfriend, I don't think that's a great look in trying to get a job with these NFL owners who are known to be, I'm not talking about politically, but at least, the way they run their football teams is fairly conservative. And I really have a hard time seeing him back in the NFL, really in any capacity now.
Which is hysterical, because there are a few older owners who have some very young women on their arms. So that in and of itself is hysterical. Gary said at the beginning. Yeah.
I was just going to say that a lot of the NFL owners are not as
public.
I'm sorry, something you don't see. They're not out there as much.
Right.
You don't know really what's going on with their lives. They're not that visible publicly. The whole Brady thing is played out in public, and I have to believe. And I don't know about these owners and what they're doing or whatever, but I have to believe Brady's girlfriend is a lot younger than anything else that's going on with men in their 60s, 70s.
Right.
So, and it hasn't been well received publicly. My feeling is it's his life, it's her life. They can do whatever the heck they want, but that's just me. A lot of people don't feel that way.
No doubt.
Gary Myers, Brady versus Belichick, the dynasty debate. It is released tomorrow. Gary, how can they get it?
Yeah, tomorrow in all your bookstores, and then if you just like to sit by your keyboard, you can order it today on Amazon or any of the other online services, and they get stuff to you pretty quick. So I think people will enjoy this book. There's a lot of stuff in there that I think will be new, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and I really had an awful lot of fun doing it. And as always, I don't want you guys to sell yourself short. I am happy to come on your show anytime.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. Gary, all the best over the next few days. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, Mark and David. Have a great day.
Brady versus Belichick, the dynasty debate. Gary Myers, you can follow him on X, Gary Myers, MYERSNY, Gary Myers, NY. Miller and Moulton. I'm in Houston. We'll talk a little Bucks and Texans with John Harris. He covers the Texans in an hour.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea, and by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And for over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or NolanAgency.com. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, do I need to close the blinds
Not at all.
behind me?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Just didn't know if that's too bright.
Not at all. You look good. Did something this morning I don't think I've done in a long time, because usually I wait for you. I had enough time this morning. I usually wait for you to tell me who won the NASCAR race as I'm reading through things I may have missed over the week. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to check and see who won the Bristol race. Because I didn't even realize Ross got knocked out of the playoff. I mean,
No, he didn't get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out.
He just moved out. He moved down.
Yeah, he's one of the very bottom guys that made it to
Okay.
the next round.
Gotcha. The line that I saw in the tweet, I thought he was out. It's my mistake.
No, there's 12 guys. He's tied for 10th. So
Okay.
he's only a point out of last, but he hasn't really contended. I think he only had one good race out of the four.
He didn't contend much this year. I mean, he won the race.
After he won, right. He's not had a good second half.
Boy, talk about a sport to me that needs to finish before college football starts. Not pro, because I don't know how much. I mean, I know their audiences cross over, but a Saturday night race with all the college football going on just doesn't bode well in SEC country, and that's their.
This race used to be mid-August. It used to
be my birthday. It used to always be right around my birthday, mid to late August, David.
Mark, I remembered when we were in the afternoons, we got jacked up for the night race at Bristol. Man, talk about a sport that needs some oxygen.
Ooh.
I mean, they're having trouble selling tickets in Bristol, Tennessee. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I used to have a client back in the day from the E-Blades who had a suite there. He had a suite at the arena and a suite at Bristol.
Thank you, DC. Appreciate that. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home in the 239, the 904, and in Tampa, St. Pete. It's final hour of the show. Lake City, Live Oak, surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Did we ever go with a poll question on this National Double Cheeseburger Day?
We did. We went with your poll question. We've not really talked about it a lot. You suggested it right off the hop. I said, what the hell? Will Notre Dame make the college football playoff? And while 76+% of you are saying no, I actually voted yes. Two reasons. One, I think they run the table. I don't think there's anything on their schedule that will stop them. I still like CJ Carr. I think he's fine. Their defense is a mess. Al Golden leaving as defensive coordinator they've got work to do on that side of the ball, and that's obviously evident after the game against A&M. But part of the second reason, David, is that I think at the end of the day, I'm not sure about Big 10-4, if you know what I mean. And if the SEC cannibalizes itself like I think it's going to, I think 10-2 for Notre Dame will get them in.
12-team playoff, obviously 16-team playoff, I would feel differently. I'd feel like, oh, yeah, they're still very much alive, and I don't even know if they could afford to lose another one, but they're certainly in if they win out. 12 teams. Don't you feel that Notre Dame's fate is tied to USC now?
I said it right off the hop. Because I don't believe, NC State's the other team that they play that I believe is undefeated right now. There may be another. But right now they've got NC State who's undefeated and USC. NC State's at best an average team. They're not good. I'm with you 100%. USC, they're off to a good start. Who have they played? No, not anything impressive yet.
No.
But they give Notre Dame the best opportunity to have And I don't even know if it's a signature win, David, but it's a good win. And we didn't even know if it was a good win when the season started because we're still not sure how good the Trojans are.
Just a quick USC tidbit that I did not know before working the USC Purdue game on Saturday. Mark, that was the first win for USC in the Eastern or Central time zone since 2012.
Was that game also 9 hours long?
Here's the irony. The last time they won in the Eastern or Central time zone, they beat Syracuse in the kickoff classic at brand new MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And the game was delayed 70 minutes because of weather.
When is the last time you, in your world in announcing, working with Gary Danielson and Troy Aikman, when have you ever had to deal with a delay like you had to deal with Saturday?
Well, you'd have to almost go golf. The very first U.S. Open I did with Fox, as we signed on the air at 11 a.m., round one at Oakmont, the horn went off. And we did about 3 hours with no golf, except for stuff we had taped in the morning. That was all we had. So, and this one was even a little longer, but we only had here's the irony. We're in Indiana in September and we get the weather delay. We did all those SEC games. Hot and humid September
3:30
into
in
October.
Gainesville. 3:30 in Gainesville, 3:30 in Jacksonville. Yeah.
Right. And we had one weather delay in the 18 years that I was part of the broadcast. And that was in Missouri, of all places. We had about a 90-minute delay in an Alabama-Missouri game in the early 2010s. That's the only one we ever had. And here, 3 hours, 15 minutes.
As I'm reminded on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, don't forget USC has a big clash of undefeated matchup this weekend when they host 3-0 Michigan State. You can catch that game on Big Fox. It starts at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Right. Yes. 11 p.m. on Fox.
Right.
Yeah. Let me tell you, there are so many schools that are so unhappy with the Big Ten TV package, and they have only one network to blame, Fox. Fox owns it. Fox actually sub-licenses the 3:30 slot to CBS. They sub-license primetime to NBC. So, all these schools are angry at Fox, and Fox owns the rights, and they ain't losing them anytime soon.
No, because the checks are still cashing.
Yes, they are.
And as much as, Ohio State fan doesn't like the noon game, me as a Michigan State alum don't really like the idea of an 11 p.m. start. I had more of a problem with the 4:30 start for Miami and South Florida in September. And I know, the CW, it was their game of the year probably.
Sure.
And while you were going through your weather delay, I had no interest in, if my 3 TVs, USC Purdue wasn't even getting a screen. There was no chance. But Miami, South Florida was.
Sure.
And that's when you look at, who's the talking heads here? Who are they going back? Because they've got nothing to show you. They don't have rights to other games. They've got nowhere to go during the weather delay. And you got to think that a lot of that audience disappeared as well, if it was ever there in the first place, because boy, oh boy, 3:30 from Knoxville was fun.
My suggestion to the CBS folks was we should run the 2000 PGA with Tiger and Bob May. Okay. I thought it was a great idea, but once again, they really don't take my suggestion seriously.
But you suggest it nonetheless, David, and that's what I love about you.
Yes. Mark, I've been married 29 years. Okay. I've suggested a lot of things during that time. They get bypassed, pushed to the side. I can handle it. It's fine. It's kind of like my picks. Okay. I know most of you are like, well, I'm going to take these picks and go the other way. I know that, and I've earned that.
So Bucks and Texans tonight. Look, it would be great, obviously, if you're a Bucks fan to get off to a 2-0 start. But I am worried about what the Texans bring defensively.
Yep.
And we'll see if Barton's back, second game at left tackle. It's the second time with this makeshift line. Will it be better? Because Atlanta was able to get after Baker, and Baker had to do Baker things in the fourth to get that win. Houston, like many teams yesterday, you picked in straight up, you picked Seattle, and you just said, I don't know what to tell you, Mark. I don't think they're starting out 0-2. I think they're better than that. And they played like a desperate team. And boy, oh boy, just a quick sidebar. Pittsburgh, what happened to your defense? Because teams are gashing you with they are lining up against Pittsburgh like a high school team saying, we're going to run it here. And they are running right through the Steeler defense.
Well,
a wild game in how they lost that not a bad interception maybe by Aaron, but that receiver, two players in the same spot cost him one interception. The complete gaffe on the kick, as someone did point out, whether it hit his helmet or not is irrelevant. The ball, if it lands in the landing zone, it's a live ball. And, that returner to me for a different team, maybe, that's one of those guys that I'm scratching my head going, am I cutting you? I don't think Pittsburgh will, but you know what I'm talking about, Dave. That's just one of those. I don't know if it cost them the game, but it certainly made it damn near impossible for Pittsburgh to come back. That was critical.
Well, the Jets cut the punt returner after his key fumble in the week 1 loss to Pittsburgh. I mean,
look how it helped them.
I think there are a lot of Giants fans that there's a left guard for the Giants who committed like 3 penalties in a 4-play span, 2 of them personal fouls. And it was like, what's this guy doing on the team? You got to do something about this. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. One final thing about the Steelers. Aren't they running right at the guy who wants a new contract?
Yes.
I mean, and he's in his mid-30s, and I think teams are saying to Mr. Hayward, "You're old.
Yeah,
Prove
sit out
prove to us you're not."
Exactly. Right. You're a little too old to be playing yourself into shape in this league anymore.
Right.
But back to the Bucks and the Texans. We've seen many times at 0-1 how desperate a team is. The Texans will play more desperate at home tonight. Doesn't mean the Bucks can't win. I think Houston has a better defense than Atlanta, and Atlanta gave Tampa fits. Now, I could end up being 100% wrong because there wasn't hardly a defense to be found yesterday in the NFL. I mean, there are a lot of D coordinators that are looking at film this morning going, what the hell happened? Because I think it was 10 overs yesterday. I don't have the number in front of me, but the points scored yesterday were incredible. And
well, I think Eagles-Chiefs went under at 37. I think Bills-Jets went under at 40. Falcons-Vikings went under at 28. And I think to count an under, you'd have to count the Thursday game.
Right.
Which stayed under. The under was 47 and a half, and they totaled 45. So, Mark, are we possibly, if we get 2 overs tonight, could we follow a 12-4 under week with a 12-4 over week?
That's the way it's looking, depending on how many points we get in the 2 games tonight. Doubleheader tonight. Bucks are a 2.5-point dog at Houston. The Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite in Vegas for the second one of the double dip.
First game is simulcast. It's on ABC, but it's also on the 4-letter network. But if by chance the game runs long, the 4-letter network is switching over at 10 o'clock to show the Chargers and the Raiders because the game's on ESPN. So you won't have the situation of yesterday where the Giants-Cowboys game, which was tremendous, but it obviously bled into the game that Fox is going, no, a Super Bowl rematch, and we can't show it to the New York market and out-of-town markets. What, no?
Yeah, bonus coverage is sometimes not the coverage that you necessarily want. Miller and Moulton, poll questions up. Will Notre Dame make the college football playoff? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X, and John Harris to talk Texans and Bucks coming up in 45 minutes.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sorry, David, if you said something, I didn't have your mic on. So, got this text, David. Guy showed me his two bad beats. He had parlays that he lost one game. Whatever. He has a 5-team straight win parlay. $5 to win 2,600. He picked the Cardinals. They won. He picked the Colts. They won. He picked the Eagles. They won. He picked the Falcons. They won. He has the Bucks tonight. Payout now is 135 if he just takes the money. To me, and I'd bet 500 on the other. I mean, I don't know if you've got 500 to bet, but I'd hedge 500 and take my 2,100 or my 500.
So how much can he win?
2,603 on $5. Straight
Nice.
winners, no lines.
Right. It's nice. Whew. Yeah, I'm with you, Logic Man. I think you hedge it too. Canada Relief. I don't allow anybody in my hotel room when I stay in a hotel. Seriously. Put the sign on the door. I never.
None at mine, Logic Man. I didn't see Josh Allen there. I was looking for him. That's my favorite thing to do. Is my wife and daughter both do things. My daughter's an altar server. My wife's a Eucharistic minister, so I have to get there early, and I watch who brings NFL gear to church on Sunday. I love it.
And
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A really good football weekend. The baseball season's down to the final 2 weeks. We're 11 days away from a Ryder Cup, NASCAR playoffs, and I'll mention it, WNBA playoffs. We got a lot going on. NFL doubleheader tonight. I think there's like 4 of these. If I remember what was said at a production meeting earlier in the year.
They carry on through the season a little bit. I always remember them being early and they were done. But when you challenged me earlier in the show to find a Bills loss between now and November, the game against Atlanta in Atlanta is a 7:15 start, which leads me to believe that that's obviously a double dip night.
And I believe Joe and Troy are not scheduled to work that game. I believe we have the other game. I don't know what that other game is, okay? But I believe we have the other game. I don't think we have the Bills and the Falcons. I could be wrong.
Hello, Cleveland. David Moulton not realizing, just go on tour. I'll figure it out when I land at the airport and see the damn sign.
I will say for 30 seconds this morning, I didn't know what day it was and what city I was in. Okay, I did. I was staggering around. The alarm was going off, and I was staggering around the room, and it took me a good almost a minute to figure out what city, where am I, what day is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Mark and I are doing a show in a half an hour. Snap out of it.
So in college football this year, we're just a couple of games in. But, David, so far, we asked the question before the season began with all of these new quarterbacks that teams were breaking in.
Mm-hmm.
How successful they and their teams were going to be. Well, I don't necessarily put it on C.J. Carr, but they're 0-2. Arch Manning, he's not looked very good. Alabama did rebound on Saturday and jumped all over Wisconsin early. And, David, we talked about that game from Alabama's perspective on Friday, and you said, by the way, Wisconsin needs to cover here.
Yep.
Or at least be competitive for Luke Fickell. They were nothing of the sort. That game was done early.
I will say Wisconsin wasn't going to win, but sometimes you're just trying to hang around. Wisconsin was trying to hang around, and they made a good defensive stand, and it was a dubious roughing the passer penalty on Wisconsin on a 3rd and long for Alabama, which they didn't convert. And next thing you know, instead of Bama punting and Wisconsin only down 2 scores and the defense making a second straight stop, Bama gets a first down, and I believe the very next play they throw a post for a touchdown. And at that moment, it's over. And you're like, boy, one of those, hey, there's the Gators had a holding call back a touchdown. It was dubious.
It
there
really
were
was.
a few.
That's a couple in a row for the Gators that they've had some rough breaks on calls. That's why I'm having trouble giving up on them just yet. That and the fact there's no one in the SEC that's made me a believer that they're that much better than everyone else. I mean, DJ throws another bad pick. LSU has a chance to put the game away, and Nussmeier throws one of the worst passes. He might have thrown a worse interception than some of DJ's.
All right. This might be too early to do this, but this is part of the reason why it drives Miller and Moulton nuts that college football has preseason polling. This is the AP poll before week 0. Let me just give you some of the highlights, Mark. Clemson was 4th in the country. They got 4 first-place votes. Notre Dame was 6th in the country. Now, their 2 losses are to 2 teams that are currently ranked in the top 10 by a total of 4 points. But, hey, preseason polls, preseason poll. Clemson was 4th in the country. It's mid-September. They're unranked.
All right, David, we're having a little
Arizona State was 11.
Okay.
South Carolina was 13. Florida was.
All right, David, you're breaking up on us a little bit, so I'm going to have to slow you down a little bit, and we can get back to this in a moment because you have frozen up, and I think you need to reconnect, sir. Sorry for everyone down the line. But you know the point that David's getting at. There we go. You're back now, but you're having a little trouble with you, David. It's kind of glitching in and out on us this morning. Houston's internet not being good to us this morning.
Sorry about that.
Well, it happens. Arizona State was the last one. Arizona State, then South Carolina is what I heard.
Florida was 15. SMU was 16. Kansas State was 17. All right. Iowa State was 22. They're 1-3.
I'm sorry. Who's 1-3?
Iowa State. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Kansas State. My bad.
I was going to say Iowa State's undefeated.
Okay. I was going to say, no, I'm sorry. I got them confused here. Kansas State was preseason 17. They're 1-3. So that's just some of the highlights. It's September 15th. But that was the preconceived notions that the national media had going into the season. Look how wrong they were so many times. And then how hard it is when you have a preconceived notion about a team to move that team down. And here's Georgia Tech and Vandy, for instance, who've got each 2 pretty nice wins or very impressive performances in the wins. And only now are they even making the top 20.
I will say the team I'm curious about, and it pains me a little bit to say it, is the game you're going to be doing this Saturday. Because of all the young quarterbacks, and he was not great against Oklahoma. I didn't love the play calling that they had for him, and he's beaten up on really bad teams. It looks like this kid at Michigan, Underwood, can play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested in the game at Nebraska. They jumped into the top 25. No one thought Michigan was going to do anything this year. And are they going to fight to be that 4th best team in the Big Ten?
A month from now, Mark, Michigan at USC.
Right.
Just saying. And could go a long way to eliminating one team and elevating another in the playoff talk.
And Michigan, if they're at Nebraska this week, then Wisconsin at home. Wisconsin's hot garbage. The USC game you mentioned, they get Washington, who you like, but they get them at home. Then they've got Sparty, Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland before the Buckeyes. Telling you right now, Michigan's going to be in play for that fourth best Big Ten team. Write it down. The kid can play. They got the right quarterback. They let him use his legs a little bit more. I get it. It was the Connor Stallions Bowl against Central Michigan, and you can't put a lot of weight into it. But early, based on all of the young quarterbacks that are playing, who's playing better than him?
I actually like the kid at Notre Dame also.
I do too.
I know
like
he
I
hasn't
said,
won a game, but
I don't think it's his fault.
I don't either. Quite frankly, that defense needs to be better. That was supposed to be one of the strengths of the team. It was supposed to certainly be more of a strength in the quarterback play. Come on, score 40 points at home. Notre Dame scored 40 points at home and lost? Seriously? What the heck?
So these preseason polls, we do harp on them because, as David said, they're an indicator for a lot of folks. And right now, when to me, where you still have Alabama ranked, 14th, they've done nothing to prove they're the 14th best team in the country. But they're in the SEC, and where all things are equal, the SEC gets the nod. Miller and Moulton.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Well, I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tec. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tec. The best flooring. Best service at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Canada relief. And I'm not saying this because I'm, a part of the quote crew. I don't care if ESPN succeeds or not. I need the game to kick off. Once it kicks off, I get paid. But I thought the same way about the whole doubleheader thing. Oh, I hate this. Let's just say Tampa Bay Houston was the only game tonight. And the Chargers played the Raiders yesterday in the 4:00 window. How many of you would see that game? I mean, going up against
That's what it boils down to.
going up against the Eagles and the Chiefs. I mean, come on. How many of you would have, besides Red Zone, but I mean, How many of you would have watched the Chargers and the Raiders if it was in the 4:00 window yesterday? Do you know how many people are going to see the Chargers and the Raiders tonight? Millions. More than who would have seen it in the 4:00 window yesterday.
Any desire to play the Brian Kelly clip here and talk about that at all, or no?
Sure.
Just give me a second here. I want to make sure this sounds good.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing?
Yep. It's there.
Not this year, Adam. Nobody
Well,
does.
I Adam, that's funny. I will tell you, though, that Nussmeier interception after they got the ball back was such an – I mean,
That was not good.
that was terrible. Caleb's yesterday, too, trying to throw one away. Good, great. Throw it out of – why are you trying to throw it over the heads of players when you can throw the ball out of bounds, David? Can you explain that to me?
I've never understood it. Once they changed that rule 30 years ago, I don't know why the ball's not in the second, third row.
Yes, it was, Logic Man. That was funny. Now, we know what colors you fly, but yes, it was funny.
No, that was great. Would have been funny the other way.
Exactly. By the way, did you see the Fox lineup is 3 Big 12 games this week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one's a good game, but I don't know if anybody cares.
They are really humping that Utah-Texas Tech game, aren't they?
What choice do they have?
Yeah.
I mean, you thought the schedule was bad week 2 or week 3. Look at next week. It's awful.
What's NBC got in prime time? Because I actually like our game, Michigan at Nebraska.
I like your game, but do we have times yet for everything?
I showed 5 days out.
Yeah, Illinois and Indiana.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. I know they're playing Georgia State, but I want everybody to put this into perspective. Vanderbilt's a 26.5-point favorite. I think Miami and Florida is a good game, Puck. Those are also good games. And the Utah-Texas Tech's a good game. It is. Might not have any interest, Puck. I get that, but it's still a good game. South Carolina, Missouri, they're both ranked, whatever.
South Carolina's not ranked.
Oh, it's old ranking. Sorry. Yeah, they didn't update it for whatever reason.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till John Harris will join us at the top of the hour. He covers the Houston Texans. Tampa Bay, the Bucks in Houston to face the Texans tonight. Texans.
So, David, you're going to get me by a game in the NFL this week, no matter how much I like it or dislike it. You've edged me out in our 3 games that we differentiated on. You had Seattle. I had Pittsburgh. Loss for me. You had Cincinnati. I had Jacksonville. And you had Kansas City, and I had Philadelphia. So I got one of the 3. So you've won this week by a game. We tied last week. Our picks against the number have not been or our picks just straight up have been fine. Nothing spectacular. They've been fine.
Yeah, we're 12-4 week 1, and we're both. Well, I'm 11-3. You're 10-4, and we both have, I believe, the Texans and the Chargers tonight.
That
two
is correct.
favorites.
That is
Yeah.
correct. Well, style points matter in college football, particularly for fans. And you can go up and down the games on Saturday. A game like Iowa State, they struggled with Arkansas State. But LSU won against Florida. It was a big game for LSU. That's a rivalry, whether you want to admit it or not. And LSU's offense wasn't great. Their defense was sensational. Forcing Lagway threw 5 interceptions. Did they force them all? They forced a few because it looked like they knew what they were running. Florida was incredibly predictable, and the defense was excellent. And Brian Kelly walks into the post-game presser and is met with this question first. Take a listen.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
That's Brian Kelly. First question out of the box in the post-game presser, and you could see how happy he was. Was Brian Kelly out of line, David?
No. All right. Not to get too behind the curtain, and I don't think I'm talking at our audience here. I hope not. Okay, because we're not above you. But there is a method to the madness. When we interview folks, that's why when Jay Leno had Hugh Grant on 30 years ago, okay, it's one of the few times that going with the hard, obvious question first worked. When he just said to Hugh, who had just gotten caught in a prostitution ring, "What the hell were you doing?" Okay, and it worked. It was funny.
He also said it with laughter in his voice.
Right.
The tone of the question was not harsh.
And when Miller and Moulton do interviews, our first objective is to get the interviewer to talk. And that may sound stupid, but some people give 4- and 6-word answers. That's bad radio. We try to ask a first question that gets them talking, that gets them comfortable talking to us. And then, and it could be as simple as the second question. You know by now, I bring the guests on, I ask the first question. Mark takes the interview from there. Sometimes Mark stays conversational with the second question. Sometimes Mark wants to get into the meat. We only have 10, 12, 15 minutes. Let's get to this. Okay. A press conference, they're 15 minutes. Okay. There's a rhythm to it. There's a get Brian Kelly talking. Get him smiling a little bit, happy to talk. Maybe he'll talk 5 minutes longer, and then you can get into the meat, and he's in a good mood, and he'll actually get into it with you. You don't when you win. Okay, you can come. Napier in Florida loses at home 18-16 to South Florida, you can come right out of the hopper, and go right to the top of the food chain with a question. Okay, you're LSU, you're 3-0, you're top 5, top 10 in the country. You just beat the Gators at home, which is a pain in the ass team for you over the years. Okay, I could see why Brian Kelly is like, are you serious, dude?
And it was interesting when I grabbed the audio from this. I did it off of X. And that's the audio from the person who asked the question. And he retweeted it or posted it saying that I guess he didn't like it out of the hopper, basically. But the question's still appropriate. I agree with both of those points. There were some people who felt that Kelly owes this guy an apology. There were others, media people, good media people, who thought the question for the first question was inappropriate. I will give the reporter, I will cut him a lot of slack for this reason. Typically in these situations, these reporters may only get the opportunity to ask one question. That might have been an opportunity for that particular journalist to tell the SID or whoever's walking the microphone, go, don't let me go first. Let someone else go first. Can I go third or fourth? Because I'm going to ask a tough question. Because they don't get a lot of questions, David. You know that.
No, usually you get one, but that's when you don't raise your hand. Okay, when you know there's a specific topic you want to get to, you want to see what his mood is. You want to get him talking. And then 5 minutes in, you go, Brian, congratulations on the win. Not to nitpick, okay, but 4 for 11 on third down, averaging under 3 yards a rush until the last rush, okay, what is it that you think is holding you back? Okay, that's probably how you go at those points. And then he'll talk about it. He'll say, well, we broke the long run off, okay, and, hey, that's a good defense. But he might actually then give you a few nuggets. He'll defend his guys first. Every coach does. Okay, well, 98% of them.
Right. Right. And on the, about the running, it's asked the wrong way. Hey, you broke one off late, which was great, but you struggled running the ball for the game. Why do you think that was? It's phrasing. It's very simple. And I don't blame Brian Kelly. And I got to think that the LSU fan base is fine with their head coach having the energy that he had in the response to that. But I did want to bring it up because I thought it was a great soundbite. And two, it is something that I think fans pay a little bit of attention now. You have access to so much more and you're seeing so much more. Like someone said on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, at least Brian Kelly has energy. The Napier press conference was a snoozer, just like every week.
Well, let's face it, though. When you're Billy Napier and you're 20-21 as coach, what could he say at that presser that a Gator fan would be happy about and go, hey, did you hear Napier's presser? That was really good. I mean, what are you looking at? Energy, what are you looking at? I mean, does he need to take more blame? I mean, what could he say at this point that would, no, he's got to win games. I mean, it's real simple. He's got to win games.
And I thought
end of sentence.
McDaniel was asked about his future in Miami. And he said, if I'm thinking about my future as a coach, I'm not doing my job as a coach.
Right.
There's no other answer he can give there. That's the appropriate. You might not like it. You may think he's sending this team through a dumpster fire and ruining the franchise once more with Greer, but I don't know what other answer at that point McDaniel can give you. Not one that you're going to be satisfied with.
By the way, Gators can't run the ball either.
No, they cannot.
That offensive line has been a disappointment. Well, Lagway's been a huge disappointment so far. Okay, and listen, when you're out there in the arena, I mean, none of us think he's 100%, but, dude, we got to grade you on what we see, and you ain't getting the job done. I mean, it's simple as that.
And the one thing we were told, Kevin Brockway covers the team. Bud Elliott covers college football as well as anybody that I know. They both thought the Gators were going to be far better at the line of scrimmage this year.
Oh, yeah.
Thus far, they have not. You can say the same thing about Clemson for that matter. By the way, just a quick note on Clemson, David, and I know you didn't get to watch much of that game because you're getting ready for the 6-hour rain delay you had, but Going back, the Southwest Floridians that listen to our show may have started watching Clemson a little more when this guy named Sammy Watkins started playing there.
Right.
But when Sammy played there, the one thing Clemson had all over the field was speed. Outside of the one receiver who broke away on the slant pattern and scored the long touchdown for Clemson, they're slow. They're slow on defense, and they're slow on offense. Georgia Tech's not a bunch of burners out there, and they look to be the faster team. If I'm Clemson, I'm petrified at where my team speed is, David, particularly on defense, because you can gash them.
Mark, so far you've been 100% correct about Georgia Tech. You had them as your sleeper team in the ACC. You had them playing for the ACC title. If they continue on with the way they've started this year, and their quarterback is another one of those, Mark, I don't think he sniffs Sunday. But boy, is Heinz King a hell of a Saturday performer. Mark, how about the Georgia Tech game after Thanksgiving and the significance it could have for the playoffs?
Hey, look, I'm not predicting that Georgia Tech's going to go undefeated, but to your Buffalo question to me earlier, you tell me when Georgia Tech loses next. Temple, at Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, at Duke. That could be tricky, but I don't think so. Syracuse, at NC State, at BC, and then they're home for Pittsburgh before the Dogs.
Many a good team, very good team, has gone to Chestnut Hill and lost. But yeah, they've got some tricky ACC games. But what you're clearly saying is they're favored in every game until Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And that, you're right. That he may not play on Sunday, but at this rate, he may end up in New York at the end of the year, David.
It's been a fun college season so far, hasn't it?
He's fun. Georgia Tech's fun. And that's another coach people need to be paying attention to when job openings come. The one good thing for the 8 Georgia Tech fans there are in the country, and that might even be in Atlanta, they're starting to spend money with that football program. You know, they went out and they got that big offensive tackle, top recruit that was getting recruited by all the big boys. He went to Georgia Tech. He didn't go there because he wants to be an engineer, kids. He went there because they paid the most. That's all there is to it now. So Georgia Tech's spending the money to try to put together a program. And so far, so good for the Yellow Jackets. But Haynes King's off to a great start, and he's fun. He and the kid in Vanderbilt, Diego, they're fun little quarterbacks to watch on Saturday.
By the way, you know who else is fun? Miami. If they do to Florida, if they cover against Florida, they're 7.5-point favorites. They got a bye week and then Florida State. Florida State's got a MAC team this week, and on a short week, they go to Virginia. Not a good team. We could have 4-0 Miami, top 5 in the country, at 4-0 Florida State, top 10 in the country. And
that right there gave me goosebumps. I'm not messing around. That made the hair on my arms stand up. I'm so excited for that.
And game day won't go near it, because that means Kirk Herbstreit would have to go to Tallahassee, and he can't handle it.
Not even with Peter the dog.
And that's why I'm telling you, game day's in Miami this week, so that this way they can say to Canes fans in a couple of weeks, oh, well, we already did you, otherwise we would go. So we're going to go do the other game.
Whatever.
Could be wrong.
We'll
Could
see.
Be wrong.
It's going to be the biggest game of the day. They own that game.
Yep, it's their game.
Their game.
Yep. So,
and if they don't go, the hatred for Herbie in Tallahassee will get even bigger than it was before, which seems damn near impossible. Because the Noles will think they deserve it at that point, particularly their fan base. Miller and Moulton, let's dig into Texans and Bucks from a Texans perspective. That's next.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Tell you what, they really, right now on paper, I really think they have to go to Tallahassee. There's not another game within the area code of Miami, Florida State.
When is it?
2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's the first Saturday in October. I mean, it's why I'm really surprised they're doing Florida Miami this week because
Well, they're not going to go to the Utah-Texas Tech game because that's Big Fox's game. They can't do that twice.
I know, but they're
Go to Auburn and Oklahoma?
Yeah.
All right.
But then again, they're probably, well, the same day as the Red River shootout. I know they don't call it that anymore. Isn't that the same day as Alabama, Georgia? So they'll be in Athens.
The only other game on there, somehow, if Florida were to get their act together, is the Texas-Florida game. But they've already been to a Texas. I'm just spitballing, but yes.
Well, now they can't because they're doing Florida this week.
Right.
I don't think, but
Oh, good. I just saw your text. I didn't realize you did. Yes, much better.
yeah, somehow I got knocked off my MiFi and I was on the hotel's
Gotcha.
internet.
All right, let me call.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Southwest Florida. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I'm in Houston, getting ready for the first of the 2 Monday Night Football games this evening. The Bucs looking to improve to 2-0, but they'd have to do it as a slight road dog in Houston against the Texans. John Harris, he covers the Texans, has for 20 years. Texans Radio Network, also a little Sports Radio 610 action here in Houston. You can follow John on X at the letter J, Harris Football, J, Harris Football. John, it's David and Mark, top of the morning to you. It's game day. How are you?
Yeah, it's weird, too. I mean, last week we started in L.A., so we got to watch all the noon games, and then today, or yesterday, we got to watch all the games and not play until tonight. It feels weird because I think sometimes Monday Night Football, we almost feel like we're forgotten. But then the nation watches, and it's interesting talking to the players and the guys over the years. They love this Monday night game. And it's a doubleheader tonight, but, you know, the nation gets to see them. You know, not a lot of people get a chance to see the Texans throughout the year unless we're playing the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Ravens, and that's happening. We've not played extremely well against them, but to get a Monday night stage is going to be really fun, I think, for the guys who are really excited about it.
Well, obviously, last week the offense wasn't great against the Rams, not even good. But C.J. Stroud, when he played Tampa the last time, it was kind of a coming out party for him. He has to have confidence facing a Bucs defense that Todd Bowles with blitzing. They're pretty damn good. So what's the offense going to look like to you tonight?
Your guess is as good as mine on this one. To be honest, you know, we've gone through our training camp. I've seen every practice rep, every rep they had. There were times they're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And then they'd be like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And so last week when they had an injury on the offensive line, instead of just, well, the right guard is injured, let's just put the next right guard in. Nope, they slid in the right tackle to the right guard. They moved the left tackle to the right tackle. They moved then in the left tackle that had gotten beat by the Rams the last time they played a few times and gave up 10 sacks in a playoff game. So that's the line they ended up going with. Now, it appears Ed Ingram at right guard is healthy to go. So do they kind of shift back to their original line? I don't know. And I bring that up because the offensive line has been a sticking point probably ever since D'Amico Ryans took over as head coach. Probably the only time they had any sort of continuity and success was that run where they played Tampa Bay, and the next week they played Cincinnati, and CJ went crazy throwing for all kinds of yards and touchdowns and, big time fourth quarter comebacks because he had time to throw the football. But almost every other time the offensive line has been an issue. And so we don't even know what we're going to see tonight. We don't know if they'll just go back to what we thought they were going to see with Ed Ingram at right guard and Titus Howard out at tackle and Ariante Harrison, the rookie, at left tackle. It could be totally different. But I know this. They've had so many changes on an offensive line that it's really kept them from finding any kind of continuity offensively. And I don't even know if this team knows what its identity is. Is this a team that likes to run a little bit more than it likes to pass? Is it a team that is better run blocking than it is pass blocking? And that's kind of the way I feel. Like, I think these guys might be better run blocking, and that maybe needs to be a little bit more of a focus and setting up, letting the run set up the pass as opposed to the other way around. So where that becomes problematic is big number 50 tonight. Nobody moves him. And in the game 2 years ago, we didn't move him. And they just threw their hands up at the end of the first quarter and said, screw it. We can't move that guy. So let's just throw it the whole game. And they did. And they had a lot of success. So it's a different offensive coordinator. It's a different mindset. So we'll see what Nick Caley does tonight. But I think tonight he's going to want to try and establish Nick Chubb in the run game first and then let the passing game come after. But again, if we can't block number 50, then we might not have any success offensively, kind of like last week against the Rams. And last week, against the Rams, there was success, but it was one of those kind of high-low things. The lows were really low. The highs were, man, we're running the ball for good chunks against this good Rams front, but we just couldn't do anything consistently. And then penalties and stupid errors, as you can tell, I was not really happy with, ended up shooting them in the foot, allowing them really to only score 9 points. So we're one of only two teams that didn't score a touchdown. Now, one other team that didn't score a touchdown was New York Giants. And they found a way to put up a lot of points yesterday. Let's hope that we can do the same tonight, but just not give up 40 in the process.
John, we got about 6-7 minutes. Want to touch a couple bases here. Why do you believe that C.J. Stroud, while still obviously a very good quarterback, seemingly he in the offense was more productive his first 15 to 20 games than they have been in the last 15 games? Why do you think that is?
I think it just comes down simply to protection, in all honesty. I think they've not been able to protect him properly, and it started the Vikings game last year. And then we went to Green Bay in week 7, and they brought pressures from everywhere in all different kinds of shapes and all the things you see in college, and we couldn't protect it. And I think he started losing confidence. I think he started seeing the rush a little bit instead of feeling the rush. Then he lost Stephon Diggs. Then we lost Tank Bell at the end of the year. Now he's down to just having Nico Collins. And so I think there was just a lot that was kind of being thrown at him. And I think he really kind of grew up. They brought in a new offensive line coach, a new offensive coordinator. And hopefully that's enough to kind of get his confidence back up. Last week when he's pressured, he was 9 of 10 and was really, really good when he got pressure. It just doesn't need to be that way, because when that kid gets back there with a little bit of time, he could tear up the secondary. But really, to me, it's just been the protection that's kind of led to maybe a lack of confidence in the time that he has to throw.
It'll be interesting because Bowles likes to blitz. He does it from all different things, so you're going to see that pressure. But the other side of the ball, Tampa's O-line with Wirfs out, they've had to kind of had a makeshift line, switching center to tackle, bringing in some new pieces. And Atlanta, who now 2 weeks in a row has had a great pass rush, they were all over Baker Mayfield. It seems, it's obvious that if Houston's going to win this game, they're going to have the same type of success getting after Baker. Even though Atlanta didn't win, they were successful getting after the quarterback.
No question. I mean, the best thing about week 1 is you've got film for week 2. And that is exactly what the Texans have on the Bucs. And look, they're going to make some adjustments, just like the Texans are going to make some adjustments as well. But there are only so many. With Wirfs out, okay, well, how are they going to play this? More than likely, you go with a similar setup, you would think. But that being said, we talked to the coaches and talked to GM Nick Caserio this week as well, and all of them were basically, hey, look, we got to rep our style. And our style is just to get after with 4. Now, their times. They pick selected times for blitzing and getting after them. When they blitz, I mean, it is like a tidal wave, and I think that's the one thing they may have to do tonight. But the secondary's got to hold up. Derek Stingley got a little bit banged up last week, and they're not really sure who the third corner is. So if you're going to blitz, you better be able to play some man coverage, and they can, but it's just a matter of, do they want to do that just yet? Are they really like locked in to be this man-to-man type team bringing blitz? And that's the thing, they don't have to. They were really good defensively last week. Matt Stafford really had struggles other than really 2 drives. So it's just a matter of, can they, with what Tampa has on their offensive front, can the 4 guys up front get there? And typically they can. And it's just a matter of, sometimes they tag a guy on with a blitz. It's not much, but they can sit back there and play zone behind 5-man pressures. And if 5-man pressures are getting there and 4-man pressures are getting there, Baker will have trouble against our defense. But if he's just short, quick stuff, then that becomes the running game for Tampa, then the Texans could struggle with that for sure.
This is probably a stupid question, but if you're the defensive coordinator and it's third in an obvious passing situation, Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer, but he's not the home run threat he was during most of his Hall of Fame career. Igbuka on the other side is. Who do you put Stingley on 3rd and 7 in the second half when it's important? Okay, Mike Evans, who's become an outstanding possession receiver, or the home run hitter?
Well, this is where I differ from people a little bit, and this is my philosophy, and that is, to your point, and I agree with you. And it's funny because when we're going through the draft process, people were down on Igbuka because they didn't think he was fast or explosive enough. And I would just look at him like, you're showing your idiocy. What I would do is I would put Stingley on Evans, and then I would double Igbuka, because I see it the same way. Like, I think Igbuka is more dangerous. And I think Stingley, because Mike doesn't run as well and Sting's a little bit bigger guy, I think Sting can hold up against Mike's physicality. So I would go ahead and put a single coverage with Stingley on Evans, and then I would go ahead and double and roll coverage over Igbuka. And I saw Belichick do that to our guys when we had DeAndre Hopkins. You think, okay, they'll take the number 1 guy, Malcolm Butler, and put him on Hopkins, and then the other one on Will Fuller. No, they went ahead and put Butler, the best corner, on Fuller, and then doubled Hopkins all night, and we were confused, and we couldn't complete a pass. So I thought that was a great philosophy, and I like that one. I would go Stingley on Evans, and then I would double Igbuka and not let him get loose downfield.
Back to their running game. Have you seen enough explosiveness from Chubb that I know where you're at saying run it first, and I get it. Is there enough explosiveness in the run game?
Yeah, I think with Nick, it's a different kind of explosiveness. I mean, I don't know that Nick's going to take a run to the house, but He can reel off 10 to 15 yards like he did last week and really kind of scoot through the line. I mean, once he gets through the line, look, is he going to run away from people? Probably not. But he's still got the juice and explosiveness to, hit the A-gaps on a duo and hit it. He hit about 15-yard run last week on a split zone, and he kind of got in between that split blocker and the backside tackle. And, man, when he hit it, it was like, ooh, okay, that's good. I don't know that he's got the Nick Chubb take it to the house like he used to back in 18, 19, 20, but I do think he's got enough juice to put some pressure on the second level and on the third level. And then if he gets to the third level clean, Nick's still got he's still got the girth that you're going to have to make a business decision whether you want to come up and tackle Nick Chubb. And some of the defensive backs of the Rams found out they just kind of bounced off him. So he's still got that. Does he have full-on 4.4 speed at this point? Probably not. But he's got enough explosiveness to go 10 to 15 yards and get to where the Texans want to go and rip off a chunk play in the run game for sure.
He's John Harris, part of the Texans Radio Network, Sports Radio 610 in Houston. Follow him on X, the letter J, Harris Football, J Harris Football. John, have a good broadcast tonight. Safe travels throughout the year. Hopefully we can catch up again.
Absolutely, boys. Take care. It's good talking to you again.
John Harris, who's been good to us over the years. We're in his city, Houston. Monday Night Football tonight, Bucks and Texans, two teams that I don't think get enough national love for what they've done the last couple of years.
For the record, David, I tried to make a little date for you. I let him know you're in Houston, and maybe we can put a face with the name of someone who's been good to us for a long time. Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, I don't want him now, and we can do that Burrow thing when we come back. I do want to have a little fun here. Hey, by the way, close your blinds. You now have, like, sun's glaring in. So I'm not going to put pressure on you on it. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about this. But in celebration of National Double Cheeseburger Day, I may need your top 3 to 5 double cheeseburgers. Are you okay, by the way? I heard a growl and an expletive pop out.
Yeah, my knees, the sitting for this long, my knees are not crazy about it. So,
Don't this is
I'm
for
writing them down. I'm figuring it out.
This is important stuff here.
You're damn right it is. You know, it was, and it's also nice to see the affection that a lot of people had for somebody that I care a lot about. So that was great to see.
By the way, and we don't have time. Maybe next break. I don't even know what you said they had planned something. I had no idea what
They brought him down to the field at halftime and they gave him his jersey. You know, he's in the Purdue Hall of Fame, and they just took a moment to Drew Brees and who was the other really good Purdue quarterback? Presented him with his jersey.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day one. Some final thoughts, a few picks coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. There is some breaking news in the NFL within the last half hour. It was coming at us right as we were finishing the last segment of the 8 a.m. Eastern hour. And then we started this hour, if you were with us a few minutes ago, talking John Harris and previewing the Bucs and the Texans. But the Bengals made it official that the worst case scenario is in fact in play with Joe Burrow. He's going to need surgery, 3 months. What are we talking? 3 games left in the season, maybe?
Yeah.
When he comes back, if he can be back that quickly, will the Bengals be in position with 12 games of Jake Browning? Which begs the question, though, Mark, if you're the Bengals, do you go over the top of Jake Browning today or tomorrow and go get Kirk Cousins or whoever else you think you could get your hands on from a veteran quarterback standpoint who's better than Jake Browning? Or you've won games with Jake Browning previously. You did it 2 years ago. In fact, you finished with a winning season, and he had a pretty good record as a starter, I believe. I think he was above 500 himself, replacing Burrow. Do you go and get a Jameis Winston off of the Giants to back up Jake Browning for the rest of the year?
Wow. I don't know. I believe they will go if they were to do one of the two, they would try to get Winston before they would go with Cousins. But because it's so long of an injury, and do you think Browning can lead you to the playoffs? I mean, this is a team that over that time will play at Denver, home for Detroit, at Green Bay. the Steelers twice, the Ravens, the Bills, before you get to mid-December. So this season looks like it may be over for the Cincinnati Bengals before it started.
I think Jake Browning is one of the 3 best backups in the league. I liked him an awful lot when I saw him in person 2 years ago, beat the Jags when the Jags were 8-3. That was the beginning of the end of Doug Peterson and the Jags. They were tied with the best record in the conference, 8-3, past the midway point of the 23 season, and they finished 1-5, and we know what happened last year and where they are right now. And it all started with Jake Browning on a Monday night in Jacksonville. Mark, I think he's better than the quarterback in New Orleans, Carolina, the Jets. I think he's better, quite frankly, than Caleb Williams in Chicago right now, for sure. I really do. I like him. I would not go over the top of Jake Browning, but I think as highly of him probably as everybody outside of Cincinnati does. So I would go get a compliment, though, and I wouldn't bring back the guy who's on their practice squad. I would because to me, there's too much riding on this season with the Bengals. Okay, your best, and by the way, how about their best defensive player yesterday? Was he a force or what? And that defense still gave up nearly 30 and should have given up over 30. But how about Hendrickson yesterday? Is he a problem or what?
Yeah, and the other factor into this to me, David, is that the Bengals are known as a very frugal franchise. So making the big splash to get a Cousins is not something typically you think of when you think of the Bengals.
Well, most teams in the NFL wouldn't do it. I'm just wondering, is it early enough in a season? You are 2-0. All right. And like you mentioned, I mean, you just rattled off damn near a half a dozen games in which you don't know if they're going to be favored in any of them.
Right. I don't know how many they would have been favored in with Burrow, for the record.
Right. So can you get it so that when he comes back, it's mid-December, and what do you have, 3, maybe 4 games left? 11 or 12 games with Jake Browning. I mean, come on. If you're the Bengals right now, I give you 6-6 over the next 12 with Jake Browning. You sign it?
Yes. Yes. Cash in part of an IRA for that, David.
Okay.
All right. But that leads me to a far bigger question than what the Bengals are going to do with Joe Burrow being out 3 months. We pay attention to these national days, use them a lot for poll questions because they're fun, and our audience over the years has let us know they have fun with poll questions like that. So I will allow any of our texters on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Remember, it's 21,000, keyword Miller. And if you're looking for Pelican Roofing of Florida, it's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Commercial, residential, statewide. Today is National Double Cheeseburger Day. And I don't think in the United States of America there is a more renowned expert on the double cheeseburger than one David Moulton. Give me, whether it's your top 5, whether it's your medalist, give me the best double cheeseburgers out there.
Okay. Five Guys is the best.
Okay.
Come on. I mean, that we're playing for second here. Now, I got to tell you, I checked one out, what was it, like a month or so ago? Where was that place I went? Was it a Sonic?
Yes, I sent you to, I think it was Sonic.
It was.
Because you went for the fries and fell in love with the fries.
And the burger was amazing. I would actually put the Sonic double cheeseburger ahead of the In-N-Out double cheeseburger.
Whoa! Was it? People are saying it was Checkers. I don't remember if it was Checkers or Sonic.
Okay, well, now that you think about it, I think it was Checkers then.
So Checkers,
the Checkers double cheeseburger was amazing. All right. And I'd put it ahead of In-N-Out in a surprise of the popular fast food places. I would actually go Wendy's.
The double
Double-
stack? I mean, because you can't count the Wendy's double as a double.
Why not?
Then you would count the McDonald's quarter pounder double?
Yes.
No, the McDonald's double cheeseburger. It's right there on the menu.
Huh. Well, then I
Double
think,
stack or double
okay.
cheeseburger? Which one would you go with?
Okay. Well, if we're sticking with quote double cheeseburger of the Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's category, then if we're sticking with just double cheeseburger, I'd go Burger King. Of the three, if we're just limiting it to double cheeseburger. If we're going with double Whopper versus double quarter pounder with cheese versus double stack, I would go Wendy's.
Yeah, the Wendy's double, I agree with you. I think you're onto something. But and I haven't had Burger King in 20 years. It's my least, is and always was my least favorite fast food joint. But I would take the McDonald's double cheeseburger over the Wendy's double stack. I would.
Huh. Okay.
When that thing went to, for a while when they were doing those double and this is how it ages me with fast food. When you could get the double cheeseburger for like 10 cents more than the cheeseburger was like 89 cents.
Yes.
And the cheeseburger was 99 cents. It was one of the best deals in fast food history.
I totally agree. All right. And National Double Cheeseburger Day. Man, oh man.
I picked your lunch for you, didn't I?
Oh my goodness. I may have to put the nap on hold. Yeah, I got to drive around. Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I think I'm going to Five Guys. Telling you right now. I don't have a lot on the slate today. I think me and Five Guys have a date for a double cheeseburger, and it might be right after the damn show. I don't think they're open. The only problem is they're not open yet.
Well, be pounding on the window going, it's National Double Cheeseburger Day. Open up. Miller and Moulton. We'll make our picks on the 2 Monday Night Football games. And there's some key baseball series underway too.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, K-Ball. Someone else went with the Culver's. I go to Culver's a lot, and I go only for the frozen custard. That's the concrete mixer. That's the only thing I get there. But when my daughter was going to grade school here nearby, I could bring her lunch, so I would bring her Culver's. I think Culver's burgers are, and I'm not joking when I think they're terrible. Like, I don't like them. And people say that they're in the same ballpark as Five Guys. I'm not on your team there. But that everybody has their own opinion. That's why we do these little fun questions.
So I sent the text to Felipe. His first text back, all capital letters. I'm landing this bird. Then I said to him, "How about them fins?" And he goes, "No. We've moved straight to the Canes.
Oh.
No. We've totally pushed them to the side. They're done. We've moved straight to the Canes." So I went, okay.
Well, and I don't blame the Miami. I would have made that decision before the season started. I do like that choke job against New England's making that under bet on the Dolphins look a lot better early.
They have, after they lose to Buffalo, Jets at home and at Carolina. Don't they have to be 2-3?
I know, but we were talking about them being 4-1.
I know, but I was just saying, don't they have to be 2-3 though to like not be talked about for being on the clock?
Yeah.
Okay, that if they're 1-4, meaning they've lost it either home to the Jets or at Carolina. Never mind 0-5. I don't think McDaniel gets fired after Thursday Night Football. I don't.
Now, I will say that Javier that emails me, he wants, and he's against Napier wholeheartedly, but he thinks it's in the best interest of Florida to keep Napier for the year because of the 30-day transfer window. My only argument would that to be, I don't think players adhere to that, and I think the players are already looking to leave. Like they have agents or parents of some sort. I think players at Florida, if they lose to Miami, are going to start digging for new places to play, whether Napier's there or not. I know they can't transfer till the end of the year, but who cares? They can't play. They can't transfer and play this year anyhow.
I know you don't believe me. Here's the thing I believe. Even if they lose to Miami, 2 of their 3 losses are not SEC losses. Napier can look right at them and go, listen, I know we're 1-3. We didn't think we'd be. You do know everything we want to accomplish is right here. We beat Texas, we're 1-1. We beat A&M, we're 2-1. All right,
you're right.
I mean, that's why I think it's the second bye before Georgia, where if they're 2-5, I think he could be fired. They could have an interim for the cocktail party. All right, Indigo, I'll try one too, but I didn't think they were amazing.
It hasn't been that long. It's only Indigo there. It's only been last year. No, year before, 4th grade. Now she's in 6th. So it's been a little bit, but
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
So, we've talked a lot of important stuff today. Nothing more important than it's National Double Cheeseburger Day. Mark said now it's National Double Cheeseburger Day. It's not National take two of your biggest burgers, put them together, slap some cheese and stuff on it, and call that a double cheeseburger. Like the double stack, the double at Wendy's apparently does not count as a double cheeseburger. All right. The double stack is their official double cheeseburger. Okay. So in that case, my top three, Five Guys, Checkers, In-N-Out. And then, we have to make distinctions with the fast food places. Okay. All right. I hear you.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Let's start in 1949. The Lone Ranger premieres on ABC TV. Hi-oh, Silver, away. Today in 1954, the famous picture of Marilyn Monroe laughing at her skirt being blown up from the subway vent is shot. It was during the filming of The 7-Year Itch. The scene infuriated her husband, Joe DiMaggio, who felt it was exhibitionist, and the couple divorced shortly afterward. Nicklaus wins the U.S. Amateur at age 21 today in 1961.
That was his second U.S. Amateur win. He had won 2 years previous.
Today in 1963, during Sunday morning services at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, a bomb explodes, killing 4 young girls. David, kind of a big day for you today in 65, and you can explain why after. But it was today in 65 that Ford offers the 8-track tape players in the Mustang, Thunderbird, and Lincoln models. The first time 8-track players are widely available, so you only can get the tapes in auto parts stores or Ford dealers. The players did chew up the tapes, which led to 8-track roadkill as drivers throw the tangled tapes out the window.
Oh, that 55 T-Bird with the 8-track in it. Bat Out of Hell, Endless Summer. Oh, my goodness. We played the hell out of it.
Today in 71, Columbo broadcast for the first time on NBC.
So, excuse me, sir. One more question. I just have one more question for you.
Chips debuted on NBC today in 77. That was a monster show. Eric
wife
Estrada was that was the teen magazines and all. He was the heartthrob of young women at that time.
My then 7-year-old wife wrote to Eric Estrada and apparently was crushed that he didn't write her back.
Muhammad Ali beat Leon Spinks in 15 rounds today in 1978.
And if he just could have retired and stayed retired, because he retired right after the fight, and then
yeah, we all know the rest.
Yeah.
The USA Today's first issue was published today in 1982.
It was groundbreaking.
It really was.
A national newspaper. Groundbreaking at the time.
2 things happened in 83. The first is the first Costco store opened in Seattle today in 83.
Huh.
The other is Huey Lewis and the News released the album Sports. Some of you are young enough to not know who the hell I'm talking about. But for those that remember, it was a flippin' monster. Sells over 7 million. I Want a New Drug, Heart of Rock and Roll, among the 5 hit singles on the album. They were a big, big band.
Is that the first group that MTV took to stardom largely because of that? Because that, to me, the 81, 82 MTV, a lot of cult bands
videos,
and all English, right? Because they had done the videos, but Huey Lewis and the News had no big following in the U.S. And then that album came out, and Mark, they went and they did cute, corny videos for all of their songs right away, and they got a year's worth of play on MTV for that album.
The I Want a New Drug video is great. Huey Lewis and the News did the national anthem, I believe, at the World Series. They were a monster band at that time. 1985, Ryder Cup, Europe beats the U.S. First U.S. loss since 57. Sam Torrance clinches for Europe, beating Andy North 1-up. L.A. Law premiered today in 1986. And it was 3 years ago today that Roger Federer announced his retirement from professional tennis with 20 Grand Slam wins. Marco Polo, William Howard Taft, our 27th president, Agatha Christie, Gaylord Perry, and Merlin Olsen would have all celebrated birthdays today. Both Oliver Stone and Tommy Lee Jones are 79. Happy birthday, Pete Carroll. He's 74. Dan Marino is 64. Prince Henry, David, he's 41 today. And Jimmy Butler is 36. What did I miss?
I don't know, but I just want to, with Dan Marino, no, I don't think you missed anything. There's a couple of things, but here. So if you're a Dolph fan, when they blow this thing up, do you want Marino to be put in charge, kind of like the way Tony Baselli, he's not the day in, day out general manager, but he's president of the Jags and he's overseeing the organization. Do you want Stephen Ross to give that to Dan Marino, who then, Baselli was instrumental in the hiring of this GM head coach combination. I'm just curious, Dolph fan, do you want Stephen Ross to handle it, or would you rather Dan Marino handle it?
It's funny you said that earlier in the show when we had Gary Myers and talked about the Belichick Brady book that he wrote, and you mentioned Belichick and NFL possibly. My thought for an early nomination for a poll question for Friday morning when the Dolphins lose by 30, which retread do you want the Dolphins to hire? Rex Ryan, Bill Belichick, John Gruden.
By the way, I'm going to throw this out there. I think UCLA is going to be all in on John Gruden. Okay, they need someone.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to one of my favorite minor league cities in the country, and this is my minor league hockey life, another life. Greenville, South Carolina.
Hello.
Where Spider-Man rescued two people stuck on a waterfall at a downtown park, demonstrating his dedication to serving the community. I'm not making this up. There is an 18-year-old man who dresses as Spider-Man and walks around Greenville. He usually spends his time picking up litter, meeting fans, and listening to his scanner. He turned on his EMS scanner and found out that there was people stuck on a waterfall in a downtown park. He was at the right place at the right time. He jumped over the railing, was able to prop himself up and lift the two to safety. Way to go, Spidey. For the bad, we go to New York, upstate, Plattsburgh, where a New York resident thought there was a porch pirate stealing packages. Turned out from the ring cam, it was, but not who they suspected. The family was sending back a bunch of pet food from Chewy that had to be returned. And it was a raccoon that ended up on the porch stealing the food for itself. Finally, the ugly will stay in New York, where this is a wild one. An ambulance is on its way to an emergency. Lights on. Doing so, it passed a Chrysler. Terrell Osborne was driving the Chrysler. He started following the ambulance, saying, "Hey, I got a blocker now, man." But then he pulled alongside the ambulance, illegally passing it, and then brake checking the ambulance. The paramedic continued to respond to the emergency call, but called police, and that's where Osborne was arrested on charges of obstructing medical services, reckless driving, and several violations of the state vehicle and traffic law. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Monday, September 15th, here on Miller and Moulton. brake checking the ambulance. What the hell's the matter with you?
I know. People.
I just don't get it.
People these days, I tell you. All right, we got the 2 football games tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 o'clock Eastern. Tampa Bay and Houston get the double treatment. They get ABC and ESPN. If the game goes much past 10 o'clock, ESPN will break away to the Chargers and Raiders because that game, scheduled for 10 o'clock, is going to be broadcast in its entirety on the 4-letter network. Bucks 2.5-point dog, Chargers 3.5-point favorites, both on the road. Baseball tonight. Is this an NLCS preview? Right now, it would be a division series matchup, the 2 seed against the 3 seed, the Phillies in LA to take on the Dodgers. Phillies are 5 games ahead of the Dodgers in the standings. So, I mean, Philadelphia, I believe, a couple of games behind Milwaukee, but Milwaukee owns the tiebreaker for best record in the National League. But the Phillies are comfortably the 2. Dodgers with a 2.5-game lead out west. But this could be a second-round playoff series, best of 5, Phillies and Dodgers. Mark, the Giants play the half game. They're a game and a half behind the Mets. Tonight's the night in which they're either 1 back or 2 back. They're in Arizona. By the way, the Diamondbacks...
Arizona's past Cincinnati
yes.
in the wild card race. I actually think this is kind of good news for your Mets, hoping that they beat each other up. But Arizona's played pretty good baseball recently. They had underperformed all year long.
Mets are a game and a half ahead of San Francisco. Giants hold the tiebreaker. They're 2 ahead of Arizona. Arizona does not hold the tiebreaker. The Mets do. The Mets are 2.5 ahead of Cincinnati. Okay? Cincinnati owns the tiebreaker. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, the first place Jays, you said this a month ago. You said the Rays could play a big role because they played Toronto, 6-7 times down the stretch. Beginning of their series in Tampa with the Jays is tonight.
We both picked the Chargers and the Texans to win. If I were to ask you which underdog has a bet shot of covering, Bucks 2.5, Vegas 3.5.
I would say the Bucks.
I would too. And I think the Bucks obviously have the best chance to win. Be curious. The Chargers looked damn good in Brazil. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? This is a really sneaky rivalry game between the coaches. Between Pete Carroll and Harbaugh. I mean, you go back to USC and Stanford, and then their first run pro coaching in Seattle and San Francisco. So I'm fascinated by the coaching matchup because a lot of respect between the two, but no love lost between the two, from what I gather.
Oh, definitely not. Well, I don't know a single coach outside of his brother that Jim Harbaugh is like very close to. I mean, he is, if you talk to people around the league, they will say he's tremendous. He's elite. And they will also say he's difficult. And they say worse things than that. Okay. But there's no doubt he can coach. No doubt at all. 4 years in San Francisco, never had a losing season, went to 3 straight NFC championship games. First year with the Chargers, 11 wins. Impressive week 1 win in Brazil against the Chiefs. Oh, no. Dude can coach.
Act wears thin after a while, so he's got to get it done early. But no doubt the results speak for themselves. Would be fascinating to see. His birthday, Pete Carroll winning on his birthday. That would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like many of you, I'll find out when I wake up.
Yes, I will too. Don't kid yourself. I will too.
Full disclosure right now. There is no if I see more than the first quarter of that game, I will be stunned. And that's only because the Bucks game runs long.
as you pointed out, this is a good one for me. All right. An hour earlier start. I can get an hour extra sleep after Monday Night Football. I may get 5 hours tomorrow night. Woo! Pat Kerwin, David Sampson on the show tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports, in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
When you're craving the real taste of Chicago, there's only one name to know. Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.